The sale continues at 2120 Whitten Road, just north of I-40. And the first hour of the program is brought to you by the Big Green Egg. It's still very much grilling season. Yesterday got pretty hot out there, pretty humid, but fall is here because this morning, 54 degrees right now currently in the metropolitan Memphis area. We'll get up to 79 today. That is it. That's going to be beautiful today. Sunshine, 79 degrees, and tonight, 55 degrees for an overnight low with clear skies. Coming up on the program today, we'll be joined by our good friend Antonio Anderson, the former Memphis Tigers standout and M Club Hall of Famer. He's been a coach for a long time now in Massachusetts. He was also a teammate of one Derrick Rose. We're going to bring Tone on to talk about the great memories of Derrick Rose after D. Rose announced his retirement recently. Jerry Palm at 8:25 on college football. We'll talk about this new Super League proposal. We'll go over that a little bit later, and then we'll ask Jerry about his comments on that, on his thoughts, rather, on that. And then at 9:05, we'll head to Nashville. Grizzlies continue camp. Yesterday was day one, today day two, and we'll be joined by DeMichael Cole from the Commercial Appeal at 9:05. You can hit us up on the Sissy's Log Cabin listener lines by calling in or texting in at 901-360-8255. Major League Baseball Wild Card Series begin, all four, with Game 1 yesterday. It's a best 2 of 3, and a lot of surprises that we'll talk about from Major League Baseball. The Carl Anthony Towns trade becomes official. We'll tell you who we think the winner is, and maybe a loser, maybe not. Maybe it's a win for both teams as that deal was made. And we also got more movement out west as the Pac whatever and the Mountain West continue to jockey for position and jockey for teams, which will not, of course, include the University of Memphis. That's your lineup for today, this Hump Day edition of Sports 56 Mornings. Kick back, relax, and enjoy. I'm enjoying this nice, cool, crisp weather, I can tell you that much.
Yeah, a little chill in the air.
Feels good. That's what fall's about. Not yesterday. Played some golf yesterday afternoon, late into the afternoon, into the early evening, and until the sun ducked under the clouds, it was hot. It was humid. But that's to be expected. Even in October, I know it's early October, but even in October, you're going to have days like that, probably throughout the whole entire month. College football, the new week of games will begin tomorrow. The Memphis Tigers will not play this week. They have a bye. They'll play a week from this Friday in Tampa against South Florida. But we'll talk about that. And, of course, the new week of the National Football League, Week 5, will kick off tomorrow night with the Buccaneers at the Falcons, Thursday Night Football, and we'll have that game for you beginning at 7 with the pregame right here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. So the Grizzlies, and we'll talk with DeMichael, as I mentioned, at 9:05. He's in Nashville covering the team. But yesterday, I mean, clockwork. Here comes a tweet from somebody that Triple J experienced hamstring tightness and will get imaging. But Taylor Jenkins said not to worry. He expects it only to be a strain. We'll see. It has not been a good run as far as injuries are concerned for the Grizzlies.
Yeah, you start thinking at some point that maybe they've just, like, they are jinxed or something. I don't know. Like, it's crazy. How the injuries were one day into practice, and now you've got three guys, rotation guys or whatever, that are going to be not practicing, and a couple that are out for obviously the start of the season. Hopefully Jared's not out for any extended period of time, but that's not what you wanted to hear on day one, to hear one of the core three, I guess now, as we could call them, as Zach Kleiman called them, the out with an injury. And, it's just, it's one after another. They just keep on coming. It's been I guess we kind of go all the way back to the Steven Adams injury of 2 seasons ago. It's felt like there's been some black cloud hanging over the Grizzlies when it comes to injuries.
Yeah, look, if you believe in jinxes, it feels like it's a jinx. If you believe in coincidences, well, maybe it's just a coincidence. Or you could start to think maybe there's something to it. I know these injuries have all been different. They're for different reasons. But maybe there's something that has to do with off-season conditioning, the way they work out. I don't know. Nobody has an answer. But again, if you believe in a jinx, then you think it's just bad luck. If you believe in a coincidence or coincidences, then that's fine. Or you can start to think maybe something's wrong with their conditioning and the way their workouts go. I don't know. I don't know what's going on behind closed doors, but this is ridiculous. That was the first practice. Again, it doesn't look to be anything major, and I'll have the imaging, and I'm sure we'll find out more about that maybe today, if not maybe tomorrow. But you had G.G. Jackson go down. You had Vince Williams Jr. go down before the season even tipped. Of course, last year, which we thought was an anomaly, maybe it's not. That's why you got to be very cautious before you make your prediction of the Grizzlies are back to being a top 4 team in the West or a number 2 team like they were for 2 straight years before last year. And I like what John Moran had to say. You know, basically, and I'm paraphrasing, we haven't accomplished S. And that's the way to look at it because they haven't. Unless you're into good seasons, they've had a couple of really good regular seasons. So he knows, and they know, we're not stupid out here. The fans want a Western Conference championship. They want to get to the NBA final and eventually win an NBA championship. Maybe it's far-fetched, maybe it's not. But they certainly have the talent. Now, DeMichael tweeted out yesterday some of what he saw in the first practice, and I'm not sure how much they can watch or privy to that workout or not, but he said there's been more ball movement to create more organization flow. Obviously, they have a new scheme. Offensively, defensively, they have new coaches to go with Taylor Jenkins. The head coach remains, but the system changes. John Morant with a lot of cuts to the basket, and that's going to be important for Zach Edey or whoever is playing that big man position and pick and rolls and things of that nature to get Ja the ball, where Ja doesn't have to always create the offense himself. Then he talks about positionless basketball, which is interesting. He said after one practice, you know, the offense, it's new. As Taylor Jenkins said, you're gonna go through basically some lulls while learning. And again, I'm paraphrasing there, but you're not going to know the system and execute the system perfectly in one practice. But you're learning this new system to become better overall on both sides of the basketball.
Well, again, and that's why you hate to see Jaren be out. I mean, yeah, obviously he'll still be there and he could learn, but you want to see the guys, especially the core guys, the starters out there together as you work your way through this new offensive system. And Jaren's obviously very instrumental part in anything they're going to do offensively. So that's what you really hate to see him be missing time here right off the bat as they do this stuff. Santi Aldama's importance on this team may continue to rise and rise and rise. I don't know. Santi Aldama may end up being the most important guy on the team before all is said and done, the way things keep going. So it's just unfortunate, and hopefully Jaren, it won't be anything that he misses significant time. But with hamstrings, those things you certainly want to be cautious, because if it is not a tear now, you want to make sure that it's good to go before you put him back out there, and hopefully doesn't continue to have issues with that hamstring as you move out throughout the season.
Season opener for the Grizzlies is October 23rd. They'll play in Utah against the Jazz, and then they'll go to Houston October 25th for Game 2, where they'll meet up with Dylan Brooks and Steven Adams, 2 former Grizzlies. And then the home opener is on October 26th when they play the Orlando Magic. But the preseason games, 5 of them, start Monday. They'll be in Dallas to take on the Mavericks. The open practice is this Sunday?
Yes.
Okay, so this Sunday at FedEx Forum, but the Grizzlies will play at the Mavs, and then they'll host on Thursday. So 1 week from tomorrow, you'll see the Grizzlies for the first time, albeit a preseason game, when they take on the Charlotte Hornets. Again, we'll have a lot more on the Grizzlies a little bit later on in the show when DeMichael Cole joins us from Nashville, site of Grizzlies camp. Baseball took center stage yesterday. No football to talk about. Baseball had 4 playoff series begin. They are the wild card series, best 2 of 3. You and I both picked, basically we went chalk, picking all the home teams and the favorites to win the series, each of their respective series. Well, we're off to a bad start, and the visiting teams yesterday won 3 of 4 games. So a dominating effort by some of those teams on the road, including the Tigers, who didn't get into trouble until late. But Tariq Skubal, who was great during the regular season, why would we think it would be anything different? 6 innings, 4 hits, no runs, 6 strikeouts, 1 walk. Tigers get 3 in 1 inning, and that's all they need as they beat the Astros to grab a 1-0 lead.
Yeah, he was, Skubal was fantastic. Astros had Yordan Alvarez in the lineup with his injury. He was able to go, and then they put together the 9th inning rally, hoping to, and Jason Hayward hit the ball hard.
He did.
Really hard. Just happened to hit it right at somebody. And that's baseball. You can you can do a lot of things right, and it's just bad luck. And so he hits it right at the first baseman to end the game with the bases loaded. And huge win for the Tigers. Now they're still not in a great spot today. They're going with an opener. Pitching wise, they're not in a great spot, but they've got 2 games to win 1. So that puts you in a much better spot than if you hadn't figured out a way to hold on and win yesterday's game.
Hunter Brown will go for the Astros to try to stay alive. Meantime, Tyler Holton, the left-hander, goes for the Detroit Tigers. Also in the National League, the New York Mets, again, who played that doubleheader on Monday against the Braves, had to go back to Milwaukee where they just were last weekend, and a big 5-run 5th inning was the difference. The Mets trailed 2 different times and end up doubling up the Brewers in Milwaukee 8-4.
Yeah, they had the merry-go-round working in that 5th inning. But the Brewers jumped out to the quick start, get the 2 runs in the first. Things are looking good for them, but the Mets immediately erased that. And then they had the big 5th inning to take the lead. Brewers, they had the stat. They've blown multi-run leads now, I think, in 4 straight postseason games. I think it is, if I'm not mistaken, and they are the first team to ever do that or something like that. So, rough go for the Brewers and that pitching staff.
Well, the series isn't over yet, but I said basically those words yesterday, that I didn't trust the Brewers. I still took the Brewers because the Mets had played on Monday, and it's a short series. But I didn't trust the Brewers because they've been in this position, it seems like, every year, and they always lose. They somehow turtle up in the postseason. And yesterday, giving up 8 runs at home, not a good start. The Mets will try to close it out today with Sean Manaea. And was it Montez going for Milwaukee to try to stay alive? Frankie Montez?
Manaea's trying to get rid of some postseason demons today. His postseason career, 0-3 with a 15.26 earned run average.
I was in Toronto.
That was with Oakland and San Diego, I think.
Okay. Why did I think he pitched for Toronto? It was an all-star. Maybe I'm wrong. All right, the American League. The Royals. I said again yesterday that the Orioles have gone completely cold. I talked about Gunnar Henderson, who was an all-star, starting all-star center fielder, hitting all those home runs early. Seems like he's hit 2 since the all-star break. I don't know the number, but it's not a lot. And they had some injuries they went through. The Orioles' bats have gone cold over the last 6 to 8 weeks, and that continued. Kansas City shut him out. 4 pitchers combining on a 5-hit shutout. Bobby Witt, the star for Kansas City, comes through with an RBI single in the 6th. If you like a pitcher's duel, that's what you got yesterday because there was relatively no offense in this game.
Yeah, I mean, for Baltimore, you get the great outing out of Corbin Burns. I mean, this is why you went and got Corbin Burns in the offseason. You get the outing, goes 8 innings, gives up 1 run. Unfortunately, that's too many to give up in this game. And the Royals continue to do it with, again, I mean, I'm guessing there's not a lot of just casual baseball fans out there that know much about Cole Reagans. But that's what the Royals do. You probably don't know many people on their roster other than Bobby Witt Jr. So it's crazy. They just continue with these no-name guys to get good performances. And now they've got their best pitcher, second best pitcher. They got Seth Lugo going today with a chance to close it out. Baltimore has as the deadline acquisition Zach Eflin trying to save their season now. This would be massive disappointment for Baltimore if they go out in this series.
Lugo, 3.00 ERA, had 16 wins during the regular season, 1.09 whip. Lugo had a really, really good year. You're absolutely right. Kansas City, they hardly got the Burns offensively, but they did enough. They beat Burns on the road, and now you got Lugo pitching. You got to feel really, really good if you're Kansas City. And then, what's the game I skipped? The late game, the Padres-Braves. So the other National League game, Padres shut out the Braves 4-0. Fernando Tatis with the 2-run home run in the first inning. That's all they really would need. The Braves, of course, a story in of itself just to get to the postseason. All the injuries they've dealt with. Had to get a win, at least one on Monday against the Mets. Did so. Then had to fly across country. See, I thought the Mets might have a problem, even though Milwaukee's a lot quicker flight than going to San Diego. And the Mets did not, as those bats came alive for 8 runs. The Braves, though, no, they left them on the plane, I think, the hits, because they were hard to come by in San Diego. So the Padres in control after that shutout win in Game 1.
Yeah, I don't know if the Braves were jet lagged, but certainly you would understand if they were. Michael King was, they had no answers. He was dominant. And
they picked him up in that trade, right? I mean, Michael King came over in the Acuna trade, right? I mean, sorry, the Soto trade.
Yeah, he was in one of the trades.
Yeah, I think it was the Soto trade. And so, yeah, because they were talking about that. I never heard of the guy. I really didn't know much of the guy at all. And he was dominant.
Crazy yesterday that through the first 3 games yesterday, there was not one home run hit. The Padres are the only team that hit a home run yesterday. They had the 2 home runs, Tatis and Higashioka. And that's the only home runs that were hit in any game yesterday.
Isn't that crazy? Because if you look at any day during the regular season and just go into the box scores, which I like to do, it's rare when you find a game where there wasn't at least a home run hit. So in Game 2 tonight in San Diego, for the Padres, you got Joe Musgrove and Max Fried for Atlanta to try to force a third game.
Yeah, obviously 2 very good pitchers. Musgrove, not a great year. He was out with injury for quite a bit. Max Fried, it could be his last start as a Brave if they don't get out of this series. So if you're Atlanta, you feel good with Fried on the mound, certainly. But with the shuffling of their pitching staff, they knew yesterday was going to be difficult with the Chris Sale injury. So now you've got Max Fried on the mound, Game 2, to try and get you into a Game 3. But Musgrove certainly is a tough opponent as well.
Well, not only is it baseball, basketball ready to start. Of course, we're in the midst of football season. And with football comes tailgating, whether it's high school, whether it's college, whether it's the NFL. And the crazy coop makes perfect sense to tailgate because chicken wings make sense when you're tailgating. It's a great tailgating food. It's a great party food. And they have the best chicken wings in Memphis, the Crazy Coop. If you haven't been there, You got to check them out because you're missing an awful lot. The Crazy Coop on Stage Road has you covered. Whole wings, boneless wings, over 32 mouthwatering secret sauces, jalapeno cheddar. They have the barbecue bacon bourbon, which is delicious. If you have 6 people, if you have 60 people, it doesn't matter. Kick off your game day with Crazy Coop party packs for at home or wherever you do your tailgating. Special bulk prices also available. Visit crazycoopstage.com to customize your wings and sauces. Maybe you want to go hot like the Nashville Hot, or even hotter, the Crazy Hot Suicide. And don't forget to add garlic parmesan fries, fried dill pickles, refreshing carrot and celery sticks, all their delicious sides. For the full menu, visit crazycoopstage.com. That's crazycoopstage.com. Burgers and catfish fillets, nuggets, crazy kid meals. That's crazycoopstage.com. The Crazy Coop is on Stage Road. It's west of Appling, and the new downtown location is opening very soon. You'd be crazy not to visit the Coop. You can find them on Instagram and Facebook. Visit crazycoopstage.com. When we come back, football and movement comes hand in hand, right? Expansion, relocation. Well, could we have a super conference breakaway? Not just the SEC and the Big Ten, but a super conference split. We'll talk about that when we return. This is Sports 56 Mornings with Greg and Eli on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Be sure to follow us at Sports 56 WHBQ on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube to watch live video of our shows. Stay up to date with station events and have chances to win prizes. Don't miss out on anything that's going on. Follow us at Sports 56 WHBQ.
Simple, smooth, and every sip is easy as the last. Tito's handmade vodka tastes just as good with tap water as it does your favorite mixers. Back in the day, Tito distilled, hand-bottled, taste-tested, sent out to a few friends, then taste-tested again to give you the finest juice around. No frills, no flavors, no fancy labels, just the good stuff, just Tito's. For recipes, videos, and more, visit Tito'sVodka.com. Distilled and bottled in Austin, Texas, 40% alcohol by volume, mainly 80 proof, crafted to be savored responsibly.
We're going abroad for the first time in years, to Spain. So we started using Babbel.
And started learning Spanish fast.
With Babbel, you can start having conversations in another language in just 3 weeks.
¿Cómo te llamas?
¿Cómo te llamas?
When you learn a language, you want to actually use it. Babbel is designed with that goal in mind.
In just 3 weeks, we're starting to have conversations in Spanish. Gracias, Babbel.
Babbel, language for life. Now try Babbel for free at Babbel.com. That's BABBEL.com.
Wash your house or wash your office building? Impossible! Not called Wilson's Pro Wash. Your house, fence, driveway, warehouse, store, hotel, even cars and trucks can all be squeaky clean and beautiful after pressure washing by Wilson's Pro Wash. Wilson's specializes in cleaning all hard surfaces, concrete, stone, brick, and mortar, even wood and vinyl siding. Then Wilson's can seal their surfaces so they stay looking brand new. Call Wilson's Pro Wash, 1-524-6799, or online at wilsonsprowash.com. Listen each and every Sunday morning at 11 to join Idlewild Presbyterian Church for worship. Idlewild is a PCUSA church located in downtown Memphis.
Sports 56 traffic.
Good morning. It's cranking up pretty good now. Coming up through South Haven, up by State Line Road here on 55 northbound. You got all that traffic flow coming up from the south. Still moving at the moment. I-40 east over the Hernando de Soto Bridge over from West Memphis. Did see a little bit of traffic volume in the last few minutes on that ramp as you make your way off Austin P there onto I-40. Weimer's Jewelry located 7525 Highway 64 is your full-service family-owned jewelry store right here in the Memphis area. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Everyone, 7:25 the time on this Wednesday, October 2nd, 2024. Greg Gaston, Eli Savoy, Elijah Seegers, Antonio Anderson comes up at 8:05. Jerry Palm at 8:25. We'll talk with DeMichael Cole from Grizzlies camp in Nashville at 9:05. Yesterday, we were talking about the Heather Dinich story about the SEC and the Big Ten, and a lot of people thinking that eventually there will be the breakaway. You were talking about that, Eli, that you think it'll be 40 teams with 20 from each of those two conferences, and they'll eventually break away, maybe sooner than later. Dinich had the story that more than likely the two leagues are going to, I want to say demand. I'll be kind and say ask, but they'll probably demand 4 spots each guaranteed in the next contract for the college football playoff. Remember, the playoff contract currently runs through 2025, so this season and next season, and then they have to sign a new deal. And whether it's an additional 2 teams in the playoff or maybe 4 to 16, or maybe they just stay at 12, that they're going to want 8 of those spots automatically, minimum. And then who knows about other at-larges. So that's more the thought, that that's the direction we're going with college football and the future. But this was something it's been out there for a while, but I didn't know all the details. And it's probably far-fetched, but I think it's at least fun to talk about. And so if you missed this yesterday, College Sports Tomorrow, which I never heard of, College Sports Tomorrow, is a group of executives and administrators. And they have proposed streamlining college football into a super league called the College Student Football League, the CSFL. Details of the plan have been in the works for months, but were unveiled by the group on Tuesday. The plan includes the reorganization of the 136 football bowl subdivision schools. We were throwing around the number yesterday. I didn't know if it was 132, 133. It's 136. And break it into 2 conferences. Break them, all those 136 teams. The top 72 programs in the country would compete in the Power 12 Conference, which would be made up of 12 6-team divisions based on geography. The remaining 64 teams, most of which make up the current group of 5, would compete in the group of 8 conferences. And I'll spare you as far as going through all the names of the different divisions. According to the release, some of the top teams in the group of 8 would be eligible for promotion to the Power 12 Conference the following season. But there would be no relegation of schools from the Power 12 to the group of 8. All right, you following me so far? So the Power 12, which is not ludicrous in the sense that we've talked about before, maybe it'll be 72 schools or whatever number we threw out there, more than just the 2020 Big Ten SEC. Well, of those 72 schools, Memphis is included. Memphis would be a part of the South Division. And that South Division will be comprised of LSU, Arkansas, Houston, Mississippi State, Ole Miss, Memphis. Every single person right now, not even knowing the financial ramifications or anything, would sign up for that. There wouldn't even be a hesitation from Memphis fans. Now, I don't know about anybody else. There would not be a hesitation. So Memphis would not be, according to this proposal, in the group of 8 conference, which is comprised of 64 schools. The MAC schools, Conference USA, most of them, a lot of the schools that are in the American would be in that group of 8 conference. But the Power 12, the 72 schools, would include the University of Memphis. And again, broken into 12 different divisions for geographic proximity, historic rivalries taken into a consideration, in-state rivalries, frequency of matchups in the past, all that taken into consideration. Thoughts? Initial thoughts?
Well, this was I think, April or somewhere back there, where this group they first had stories about this group coming up with some sort of plan. And that's all great. And yes, while that would be fantastic for folks here in Memphis fans, I mean, I don't think there's anything that's ever going to come of this. While they do have some powerful people. I will say that they have some people with a lot of money that are a part of this group, stuff like that. They have some support from ADs and things like that. However, the current power brokers, the SEC and the Big Ten, why would they ever let this happen? Why would they lose control?
That's a good question. And that's why I said at the beginning that this is probably far-fetched. But the idea and the particulars are not far-fetched. Because we've talked about, look, there's going to be a breakaway. There's already a division with the moniker Power 5 or now Power 4, Group of 5, soon to be Group of 6. FBS versus FCS, things of that nature.
Possibly Group of 6.
Possibly. They need another team.
That's assuming that
they're having a tough time.
And the Mountain West both exist, and there's a lot of question marks on both of them figuring out a way to exist together.
Hey, the battle now is over Tarleton State. I don't even know what state it's in, but the battle is over Tarleton State. Is that the 51st state in our union? Anyway, there's going to be some kind of breakaway. Yes, the SEC and the Big Ten are as powerful as anybody. But like you said, there's some powerful people in this organization. And one thing for sure is television will gobble this thing up. Media rights packages will be huge, whether it's a 40-team breakaway with the Big Ten and the SEC or this. This gives you more variety. It brings in more markets. It brings in more regions of the country. The divisions, I like it. The geography is not out the window like it currently is in collegiate sports. Here's a couple
Although there are some geographical decisions that I question.
Well, there's a few, but it's not like it is in real life in collegiate sports around the collegiate landscape. You have the Mid-South, which would make sense. Memphis would be in the Mid-South, but they got Memphis in the South. The Mid-South is Alabama, Auburn, Kentucky, Louisville, Tennessee, and Vanderbilt. Again, on the surface, you go, wait a minute. Alabama south of Memphis and Tennessee. Why is Memphis in the South and Alabama's in the Mid-South? Well, they're also taking into consideration rivalries and history and things of that nature. So the Mid-South, again, would be Alabama, Auburn, Kentucky, Louisville, Tennessee, Vanderbilt. As I mentioned, the South, LSU, Arkansas, Houston, Memphis, Mississippi State, Ole Miss. The Southeast, Florida, Florida State, Georgia, Georgia Tech, Miami, and UCF. Texas would be Baylor, SMU, TCU, Texas, Texas A&M, Texas Tech. So I'm looking carefully at this now, Eli. Are there any other current American teams that are in this proposal? Is Tulane in this thing?
I don't believe so.
I don't see Tulane. I don't see South Florida. I don't see UTSA. Wow. So the power brokers, who I don't know who that committee is comprised of. I know some of the people that are there, like you said, have power, history, deep pockets. Memphis is at least in this proposal, which I give them a lot of credit for including Memphis, because usually we're on the outside looking in. I know you're looking at it carefully. Maybe my eyes deceive me, but
I'm trying to find Tulane anywhere. I don't see them in the other thing either. USF, I know, is in the southeast of the smaller one, but I don't.
Yeah, UTSA's in the central.
I can't find Tulane anywhere.
They're kicking Tulane out of the Union. Boise State, by the way, not in the Power 12 conference. They're in the group of 8 conference, part of the West with Fresno State, Hawaii, Nevada, San Diego State, San Jose State, UNLV, and Utah State. Wow. Arkansas State would be part of that group of 8 conference in the South with Louisiana, La Tech, North Texas, Rice, Sam Houston, Tulsa, Louisiana Monroe. There's South, you mentioned South Florida, UAB. They're all part of the Southeast. Can you find? I still don't see Tulane.
I don't see Tulane anywhere on the entire thing.
I'd have to add up and see where it doesn't add up right. But anyway, to see Memphis at least included in the big boys, or at least on that big boys list, is nice to see. That means it has backers, obviously, on this committee. Again, is it far-fetched? To a certain degree, it is. I don't think it's a crazy idea whatsoever. But how do you derail the power brokers from the SEC and the Big Ten, mainly Greg Sankey from the SEC, and tell them that there's going to be more money for you if you have 32 more teams, assuming they go 20-20. But maybe they would. Maybe a super conference like this would be more valuable to all your network partners. What do you think, folks? 360-8255, Sissy's Log Cabin listener lines. You can text in, you can call in. But again, this is a proposed college football super league that has been in the works for a while and finally announced yesterday, called College Sports Tomorrow, which is, it's not a group of fans. It's a group of executives and administrators. Of course, they're fans of the game, but certainly have some credentials, if you will. And the Super League would be called the College Student Football League, broken up into 2 conferences, the Power 12 and the Group of 8.
I'm going to guess Notre Dame wouldn't be real excited about this thing.
Screw Notre Dame. I'm getting tired of them.
Well, you can get tired of them all you want. They wield power.
I know they do.
They are the most powerful school in college football.
I'm just sick and tired of the rules don't apply to them.
First of all, the geography is weird because they put them in the East. But with Boston College, Maryland, Navy, Virginia, and Virginia Tech, I'm not gonna guess that that's the group that Notre Dame wants to be in.
Well, I have a feeling that they probably have a problem with Notre Dame too, like I do. Yeah, Notre Dame's powerful. They got to be a part of it. We'd love to kick them out, but no, Notre Dame's a great brand, great tradition, history, all that stuff. I understand that, but again, the rules don't apply. They're in their own world, Notre Dame. But look, for me, I'd rather have something like this because it's more inclusive. Now, if I covered or worked for a school that was in that Group of 8 conference, I probably wouldn't be excited about this. But because Memphis would be a part of that, I'm all for it. And again, any Memphis fan out there right now listening to what I'm saying or having already read the story would sign up for it in a heartbeat. In a heartbeat. But again, yeah, you're right about Notre Dame. You're certainly right about the SEC and the Big Ten. And Tulane is MIA. So I don't know what happened there.
The only thing I could think is that Tulane is maybe down at the bottom. Maybe it's cut off in the little story that I'm looking at, the image. But I don't know.
6, 12, 18, 24, 30, 36, 42, 48, 54, 60, 66, 72. There's definitely 72 schools here on the diagram that I'm looking at. And then, yeah, I think maybe 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 16, 24, 32, 40. There may be a team or two cut out from this Group of 8 here. That's weird. That's weird with Tulane. But anyway, do you want to comment on that, folks? 360-8255, Sissy's Log Cabin listener lines.
This sound's brought to you by the Big Green Egg. Go to biggreenegg.com for all the details about the best grill there is all the different sizes you could choose from. On the website, you could find not only those sizes, all the accessories, there's recipes, there's ideas, there's all kinds of great stuff on the website that you can find out about the Big Green Egg to kind of unlock all of the things that you are able to do with it. It's absolutely fantastic. Allows you to do so many different things, cook basically whatever you would possibly want to ever cook on the Big Green Egg, and makes it very easy to do so, holding heat, holding temperature for hours upon hours also, or you can get it up to, maybe you need to get up to 700 degrees to sear a steak, whatever it is you want to do. The Big Green Egg makes it very easy for you to do. And all their egg accessories, including sauces and rubs, they make it easy for you to make great food on your grill. That's what it's about with the Big Green Egg. Go to biggreenegg.com, or you can go to Ace Hardware stores here in town or Hamilton Fireplace to check out the Big Green Egg.
If my math is correct, there are 3 teams missing from the group of 8. So that's probably what happened. It was cut off. All right, we'll take a break, come back with more. This is Sports 56 Mornings with Greg and Eli on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
We are Real Sports Talk. Sports 56 WHBQ. Available on your radio dial at 560 AM and 98.5 FM, as well as around the world online at sports56whbq.com. Take us with you everywhere by downloading the Sports 56 app. And at home, just say, Alexa, play Sports 56. Wherever you are, stay tuned in to Real Sports Talk. Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Don't do it.
Don't do what?
Don't do another Halloween spot for Central Barbecue.
But it's October. Doing a Halloween spot for Central Barbecue is a tradition.
But it doesn't make it a good thing.
Nothing else happens in October.
Baseball?
Not if you're a Cardinals fan. What else you got?
National Candy Corn Day.
No Central Barbecue connection.
Fair point. How about Make a Difference Day?
That's to encourage people to do something constructive for the world.
And going to Central Barbecue isn't?
I'm telling you, it's got to be Halloween.
There's no other choice, I guess.
Hey, Zeke.
Yeah.
This year, give the kiddies ribs on Halloween. They love that.
Seriously, next year, something new.
The top 3 highlights of the day. I'm joined as always by my co-anchor Snoop.
Hey, what up, though?
Snoop, number 1 has to be getting the new iPhone 16 Pro with Apple Intelligence at T-Mobile.
Yeah, you should hustle down at T-Mobile like a dog chasing a squirrel, chasing a nut.
Nice analogy, Snoop. Dogs do love to chase squirrels.
And squirrels love to chase those nuts.
On to highlight number 2. At T-Mobile, families can save 20% every month versus the other big guys.
That is very impressive. You know, y'all can take some of those savings and buy some Snoop merchandise.
That's exactly what I'm planning on doing with my savings, Snoop. Now, take it away, Snoop.
Head to T-Mobile.com and get the new iPhone 16 Pro with Apple Intelligence on them. Now drop that jingle.
You or someone you know or care about has dealt with a difficult divorce. When facing divorce, you need the attorneys at Rice Law. Nick and Larry Rice lead the firm with 3 generations and 7 decades of experience. Located in Memphis, serving the entire state of Tennessee and North Mississippi. Rice Law is who you need to call. Simple or difficult divorce, they know how to handle it. Call Rice Law at 901-526-6701, or for more information, visit them at aboutdivorce.com. That's aboutdivorce.com.
Looking for an engagement ring that'll really knock her socks off? You need to be at Genesis Diamonds. It's such a privilege at Genesis Diamonds for us to work with the world's finest designers, to be able to offer brands like Tacori and Verragio, and we're excited to be able to give you something that audience can. Genesis Vice President David Cooper, the craftsmanship, the detail, the quality, the individuality is bar none better than anything else. Genesis has been selected as an exclusive provider for every top designer from and if that's not enough, they can create something that's truly custom crafted, literally anything you can imagine. We have the capabilities to realize any dream, things that other stores will not know. We've been doing it for 5 years. Sometimes 7 for me, but it's still design. You deserve. I'm David Cooper from Genesis Diamonds, and I'm excited to see you show. It's extended.
Now, back to Sports 56 Mornings on Sports 56 and 95 FM. This hour brought to you
The Alabama-Georgia game, the classic from Saturday night, in Tuscaloosa averaged 12 million viewers on ABC and ESPN streaming platforms, according to Nielsen. It was the most watched regular season primetime game since 2017, when the Alabama-Florida State season opener averaged 12.3 million. The Alabama-Georgia matchup was also ESPN's most streamed regular season game. Nielsen reported the audience peaked at 14.1 million from 11:15 to 11:30 Eastern, when Alabama was holding off a second-half rally by Georgia. No surprise there to see those numbers as high as they are.
Get a game like that, with two brands like that, yeah, people will watch.
Oh, they most definitely will watch, Ray.
Keith texted, he says, I think the Super League is a wonderful idea, but it's never going to happen. Ray, of course, says the proposal makes a ton of sense, but since it makes sense geographically, it will not come to fruition. Power will never be relinquished.
Oh, man. So Texas State has said thanks but no thanks to the Mountain West. To the Mountain West, not the Pac, whatever. The Mountain West. Texas State said, yeah, we had negotiations, and that was fine. We appreciate the opportunity, but we're going to stay in the Sun Belt, the Fun Belt. We're staying put.
Well, yeah, I mean, not that the Sun Belt's great, but like this new Mountain West, certainly not real attractive.
No, but what did they offer? What did they offer compared to what the Sun Belt is handing out? I'm just curious. By the way, Texas State plays tomorrow night. They'll play at Troy. Texas State, a 13.5-point favorite. And Sam Houston, who beat Texas State last week, also play tomorrow night. And they will play UTEP. Sam Houston is a 10-point favorite. UTEP did say yes to the Mountain West. So if you're scoring at home, your scorecard's going to have all kinds of lines through it and cross-outs and things of that nature, because we have so much movement and teams that have been, or schools rather, that have been in discussions that are no longer in discussions, like Texas State. But this we know. UTEP leaves, they go to the Mountain West. Utah State goes from the Mountain West to the Pac. We have Gonzaga yesterday with the news that they are going to the Pac for basketball only, which is a nice pickup for them for the basketball. And then there was news yesterday that the Mountain West is looking at Tarleton State. Again, remind me what state they're in?
Texas.
Okay. Tarleton
I believe.
State. Is the city Tarleton? I've heard, obviously, of the university, but where they're from, I always forget because they're a blip on the radar. That's
Stephenville, Texas.
Okay. With all due respect, any Tarleton State grads out there, I mean, that's the bottom of the barrel. That's what they're looking at to try to get to the minimum amount of numbers they need to have a league. Well, to keep their league afloat. The Pac to have a new league. I wonder what the Mountain West contract, their media rights contract, says in their language about losing the schools they have lost already and adding, or at least the possibility of adding, schools like Tarleton State and what it will mean for them. We talked about the deal with Memphis and the American Conference and ESPN, that they have the look in next year, but they can't drop your revenue that you're bringing in. They can only increase it. They're not going to, but they're not going to drop it. So I don't know if they have a different type of deal.
Well, the Mountain West deal is up in a couple of years. Theirs is going to be up.
Yeah, but for right now, like, what do you? Well, that's true, because they'd be walking into a new one. Yeah,
when this is all happening, this is going to be done.
Well, it's going to be as little as they get now. It's going to be a lot less, because it's not attractive. I don't even know.
That's why Texas State, like, you're looking at and go, like, what? Like, you guys are going to have you're not going to have a good TV deal. Like, what do you guys think you're going to be getting?
Right, and actually, the Sun Belt has some pretty darn competitive teams. I like the Sun Belt. They have those new additions that are good, and they came from 1AA where they were powers, and they're looking good now. The Mountain West, yeah, UNLV, they get to keep, which is nice. Air Force, not a great team this year, but solid. Other than that, there's just nothing there. And if Tarleton State says no, what do they need now? One more or two more? The Mountain West, with Hawaii only being a half or whatever it
Mountain
is.
West needs.
They lost 5.
I guess they would need one more.
One more. So maybe it's
Full.
Tarleton State. And the Pac now has 8 if you include Gonzaga, but Gonzaga's basketball only. So they have 7. They still need a team. The Pac still needs a team.
And not yet. People texted. There are various people out there, and I don't know how credible any of them are, but that talk about the fact that the Pac-12 or whatever, the 6-pack, 7-pack, 8-pack, 2-pack, Tupac, Biggie, I don't know. They have come back to Memphis offering more money, all of this stuff. I don't know. I have no idea if there's any credibility to any of that because the people who are saying this stuff, I don't know what any of their credentials are. So,
yeah, I haven't heard that. Obviously, try not to dive too much into speculation, but we certainly, if a story's out there, we'll bring it up. Not as fact, we'll bring it up as a story that's either being reported or speculation that's out there. I just haven't even read that speculation that they've come back to Memphis. And again, I don't know. I mean, they were $21.5 million apart just on the exit fee. It's a lot of dough. It's a lot of do-re-mi. I'd be pushing for the Super Conference. That's what I would be doing right now. Get it done.
Well, good luck with that.
I know. So do you think, because you said yesterday you believe it'll happen, and there's other people that agree with you, of a Big Ten SEC breakaway. Right now you have 16 teams in the SEC, 18 in the Big Ten? Is that correct?
Yes, I believe that is
that
currently
right?
correct. 18 in the Big Ten.
So 6 more teams that need to be added. If it's 20. And it would make sense, 20 and 20. If you believe, and you said you do, that this will happen, when? Is there going to be a new...
Oh, I don't know. I mean, part of that depends on what happens at the ACC with these lawsuits. Like, who knows? I mean, when this could possibly happen. I just think that it happens down the road at some point.
But I just think the timing of this new contract, which obviously they have to iron out because they only signed a 2-year deal with the college football playoff for this 12-team playoff.
And if these other conferences will just continue to bow down to the Big Ten and SEC and give them everything they ask for in all this stuff, then they don't have to break away. They're just getting everything they want without breaking away.
That's true. But again, I hate the timing of everything. I've said it a million times before. I would love everything ironed out. All right, let's go. By 2025, everything's ironed out, and you can't make a move after that for another 10 years. I know they can't do that, but just let's get some stability. Let's get
the ACC's done that. They're being sued for it.
But there's no stability when you have a 2-year college football playoff contract. So they are they're going to have to negotiate a new deal when? By spring? I know they have next season still, but before too long, we'll be into next season. And they're going to have to iron out a new deal. How long will that deal be when there's still that chance that there could be additional movement around the country? If Florida State, Clemson, they get out of that deal, right now there's no place to go, but would there be a bidding war from the Big Ten and the SEC to grab those schools? Especially if you're seriously thinking, breakaway 20 and 20, there's 6 spots, 4 for the SEC. I would imagine that there would be a battle going on for Florida State and Clemson and a few of those other ones.
There's no doubt that if they got out of the ACC, they would immediately have both those conferences wanting.
And then where does Notre Dame fit into that? A 2-conference breakaway. Where does Notre Dame fit in?
That would be up to the SEC and the Big Ten. And if they are going to let them somehow be a part of their thing as an independent or make them join one of the would be the Big Ten, join the Big Ten.
Do you think, because every time we talk about oh, their TV contract may not be as much as what they can make going to the Big Ten or the SEC. Do you think if there was absolutely going to be a 40-team breakaway SEC and Big Ten, that if they proposed that to Notre Dame or stay Notre Dame independent and who knows what championship you could be playing for because you'll be playing with everybody else, not us, would they join?
Yeah, again, I've said this.
I think they would, right?
At some point, these conferences are going to be making enough money where it's just dumb for Notre Dame not to join.
We say that all the time, but they continue
when
to.
the Big Ten starts getting up around $100 million a school,
right,
a year, I don't think that Notre Dame's going to continue to say no to that.
Isn't their deal worth about $75 per?
I don't even know if they've gotten the new deal done. I don't know where their current deal stands.
Okay.
That's what they wanted, I think, but I don't know that that's.
I don't know why 75 is the number that pops into my head.
Folks, if you want a beautiful engagement ring or any beautiful piece of jewelry, you know the place to go. That's Genesis Diamonds. Head on over to Genesis Diamonds at Poplar and Perkins Extended. When it comes to selection, price, service, all of those great things, you're going to get top of the line at Genesis Diamonds. For those engagement rings, they've got all the top designers out there. They got an unbelievable selection of diamonds at great prices, every size, every shape, whatever it is that you're looking for. They're going to have them for you, any budget. They got you taken care of over at Genesis Diamonds, and a great staff to help you pick out that perfect piece of jewelry, whether it be that engagement ring, whether it's a pair of earrings or a necklace or a pendant, whatever it is. The pre-owned Rolex watches, they got a huge selection of pre-owned Rolex watches as well at Genesis Diamonds. Check them out, Poplar and Perkins Extended.
All right, that's 1 hour in the books. When we come back, we open up hour 2 with an oldie but goodie. Our good friend Antonio Anderson on the retirement of his former teammate at Memphis, Derrick Rose. This is Sports 56 Mornings with Greg and Eli on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Hi, I'm Chandler Martin, linebacker from the University of Memphis Football. Southern Security, your home team credit union, voted best credit union in the Mid-South for 6 consecutive years. Southern Security offers the latest in technology with our personal teller machines. Our PTMs allow you to speak in real time with a Southern Security team member through two-way live video. The experience and service you trust and know, delivered at your convenience. To locate a PTM near you, visit us online at southernsecurity.org or call 901-452-7900. Southern Security is a proud supporter of the University of Memphis Athletics, federally insured by the NCUA.
It's football season and nothing goes better with Game Time Eats than chicken wings. It's a tradition like no other, but not just any wings, it's the seasoning that makes the chicken wing. And nobody does it better than the Crazy Coop at 7199 Stage Road west of Appling and soon coming to downtown Memphis. Over 32 mouth-watering secret sauces and counting, like the jalapeno cheddar and the barbecue bacon bourbon. And don't bother asking them for the secret recipes. No matter how large your tailgating is or the family at home, kick off your game day with Crazy Coop party packs plus special bulk prices. Visit crazycoopstage.com to customize your wings and sauces. Whole wings, boneless wings. Try the Crazy Hot Suicide if you dare. Add Parmesan fries and fried dill pickles. And don't forget the carrots and celery sticks. For the full menu, which includes juicy burgers, catfish fillets, chicken nuggies, and crazy kid meals, go to crazycoopstage.com. That's crazycoopstage.com. You'd be crazy not to visit the Coop.
Most shoppers today fall into one of two categories. You could be like Dave, who settles for nothing but the finest.
I drive only European luxury sedans, wear the finest Italian leather shoes. My shirts are custom made, and I expect white glove service from those I do business with. I appreciate world-class brands, and at this point in my life, I just don't want to compromise on quality, no matter what I buy.
Or you might be like Steve, whose goal is to always get the best deal.
I'm frugal. I'm all about finding value. I want the best price, and I don't mind going out of my way to get it. Work hard for my money, but I just want to make sure when I buy something, I can have confidence in knowing I'm not overpaying for it. It's not being cheap, it's being smart.
You never see these two guys in the same store, except for one.
That's why I shop at Genesis Diamonds.
Genesis Diamonds is that rare shopping experience where you can have it all. Uncompromising luxury and unbeatable value. Exceptional service and the guaranteed best price in America. A premium experience and a smart purchase. This is where the best of all worlds come together. Genesis Diamonds, Memphis' direct diamond importer, and Poplar and Perkins Extended.
This Sports 56 traffic report is brought to you by Luttrell Belting. They keep you moving.
Sports 56 traffic.
Good morning. Traffic's a little bit heavy out here already southbound on Ostapi Highway, getting up on that ramp to I-40. It's picked up with more volume. 40 east across the Hernando to Soto Bridge coming over from West Memphis. Still holding up right now as it starts to get a little bit busier on 55 northbound as you come up through South Haven. Weimer's Jewelry, 7525 Highway 64 is your full-service family-owned jewelry store right here in the Memphis area. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
56 WHBQ Memphis and W253DF Memphis with Brett Norsworthy and Bryant Dacus. Weekday afternoons from 3 to 6.
Now back to Sports 56 mornings on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by James Gaddis Jewelers.
Genuine diamonds, baby.
Here once again, Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy.
Welcome back, everyone. 8:01 the time. Hour 2 here on Sports 56 Mornings, the Wednesday, October 2nd, 2024 edition. Greg Gaston, Eli Savoy, Elijah Seegers. We're broadcasting live from the Family Leisure Studios. Family Leisure, it is where family and fun come together. 2120 Whitten Road, just north of I-40. Weather-wise, it is cool outside, 55 degrees. The high today, only 79, but sunshine. Should be a very beautiful day. And then tonight, we're looking at 55 for an overnight low with clear skies. So a good week of weather, at least right now, as far as the forecast is concerned. Today looks to be spectacular. Antonio Anderson will join us in just a few moments. Hour 2 of the program, brought to you each and every day by James Gaddis Jewelers. 4900 Poplar Avenue between Mendenhall and St. Nick. On the web at gaddisjewelers.com. Just good people. They've been in the business a long time. You want a jeweler with credentials. James has them. A master jeweler, a certified appraiser, a diamondologist. He's graded by the Gemologist Institute of America. Romantics will love the one-of-a-kind estate and vintage jewelry they have, and James can walk you through any piece of jewelry. They will take care of that jewelry through the lifetime of that jewelry. So again, if you have a problem with a finger that may have got damaged like myself, and all of a sudden now the ring doesn't fit, they'll take care of that. They'll fix that for you. They'll reset the ring if it's loose, if that rock is loose. If you need a cleaning, they'll take care of that for you. Again, they'll take care of the jewelry for the lifetime of that jewelry. And there's not a lot of jewelers that will offer that. James Gaddis Jewelers, your family's jeweler. 4900 Poplar Avenue. Go visit them today, right between Mendenhall and St. Nick in the heart of East Memphis, online at gaddisjewelers.com. Without further ado, you know him, you love him. He has been a staple for the history of the Memphis basketball program as one of the greats of all time. He is a member of the University of Memphis M Club Hall of Fame. He led the Memphis Tigers into the national championship game in 2008. He has been a basketball coach, instructor in Massachusetts. It's native Massachusetts for years now. He's the head basketball coach at the Darrow School. He is the great Antonio Anderson, who you can follow on Twitter at ToneAnderson5, and he joins us now on Sports 56 Mornings. Good morning, Antonio.
Good morning. Good morning. How are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm hanging in there. Can't complain.
Has it gotten cold yet in Massachusetts, or is it still fairly warm?
It's not bad to you guys. It might be cold. It's in the low 50s.
Low 50s, I love. It's actually 58 today here for a morning low, but we're going to get temperatures rising today. All right, my friend. Well, it's been a long time since that glorious season with Derrick Rose, and obviously you heard the news. Did you hear the news when everybody else heard the news? Because it seemed to shock everybody, including the Grizzlies.
Yeah. I heard it just like everybody else.
Have you had a chance to talk to Derrick?
No. I haven't had a chance to talk to him. But that's something that, just letting him, take that all in with his family, and give him some time to himself. I know he's bombarded with calls and texts, and don't want to join that club. Just want to let him enjoy his moment.
But you will eventually talk to him, and you have obviously stayed in touch with him over the years, correct?
Yeah. We all stay in touch. All of us from that team pretty much everybody from that team, yeah.
Going back to that, when you found out that he was coming, obviously, I assume you knew about him, whatever, but what did you know about Derrick Rose before he was actually on campus and you could see him in action?
Oh, we know a lot, man. He came on a visit. I was his host, so when he came on the visit, got to know him really well. His brother Reg and his mom and his family. He didn't talk much, but he asked a lot of questions. He had some great questions just about Coach Cal, like the school, like how the environment was, how everything just went about playing basketball for Memphis. So once he got there in the summer, the basketball part, we knew what he could do basketball-wise. A lot of people just didn't know, like, his personality until, he got to campus. So I think that was the biggest question with not myself, but some of the guys was just, he's he was a highly touted guy, the best player in the country. And, to join a team that brings back 4 starters and, it was, a lot of people thought, like, some guys would look at him different, but that it wasn't the case.
So even Cal talked about this the other day. When he came to Memphis, he was such an introvert. You talked about his visit. He was quiet. He asked a few questions, but he was very quiet. That personality, was that the same to you guys in the locker room when you're away from basketball? And if so, did he start to come out of his shell as the season progressed?
Outside of basketball, in the locker room, in our apartments, we saw, he was a whole different person with us.
Oh, really?
We're all close. We're like brothers. We all kind of grew up similar situations. And, he clicked with all of us right away. So off the court, in the locker room, Derrick's funny as hell. He talks trash. Talks big trash, right? Him at home, in our apartments, in the dorms, talks a lot of trash, play video games. So he was his normal self on the basketball court. That's just who he is. He just not a trash talker, none of that crazy stuff. He just plays. He lets his game speak, literally. And he never changed that. And I think that's what's so special about him is he let all of us older guys do the talking, and then he went on and performed.
On the court, at the beginning of that, was there ever any kind of issues with? Because as I said, you guys were a veteran group with 4 starters coming back, and now here comes this hot shot freshman coming in. Was there ever any real kind of questions of how it might work or how he fit in on the floor?
No, definitely not. We were so unselfish. All of us guys, all we cared about was winning. Remember, Chris was the only one that really scored a ton of points like that. Derrick coming in, Derrick was being more deferring to us, and we're like, man, we didn't bring you here for that. You got we brought you here to be the guy and to help offensively with Chris. Where myself, Joey, and Rob were kind of utility guys. And so once he kind of seen that there was no jealousy or envy, and we weren't upset if he shot the ball more than us. It was fun, and I think we had to tell him that several times because there's a lot of times, as you guys know, you guys saw a ton of games where he would pass up a ton of shots. And I'm like, man, don't pass me that shit. That's not what I do, right? But he, that's just who he was. He wasn't trying to be the star. He just tried to come in and help us win a national championship, and he did that. He almost, we were close, but he did his part. And I think had he, not deferred in the beginning, Derrick probably leads us in scoring. Chris was our leading scorer, but Derrick definitely could have. Definitely could have Derrick could have easily had that by 6 or 7 more points than Chris. And Chris was outstanding offensively, but just speaking the facts, showing how good Derrick was if he had been as aggressive as he was in the NCAA tournament all year.
Antonio Anderson joining us on the Sissy's Log Cabin guest lines. Don't be so humble, man. When you had to make a shot, you made a shot. You were clutch. I know you weren't the first go-to guy on offense or the second go-to guy, but boy, you came through with some big games. We have Antonio Anderson, who you can follow on Twitter on the program. The Twitter handle is @ToneAnderson5. So as that season progressed, I want to ask you this first. How is it that you had a team of all these unselfish players when it's almost impossible. And you coach kids today. I think it's even worse now. But I think just generally, it's very hard to find a team of unselfish players because when it comes down to it, players are looking to better themselves. They're looking to get to the association or play professionally somewhere. How was it that you guys all were unselfish? Because it could have imploded if you weren't.
In all honesty, because we genuinely loved each other as brothers off the court. Like we were so close that I'm sure people tell you I'm talking about restaurants, bars, clubs, McDonald's, Taco Bell, anywhere you seen one of us, you seen 8 of us, 9 of us. We genuinely cared. We really didn't and in all honesty, none of us really was just talking about the NBA or we were just so excited to play those non-conference games. We know we did in our conference, but we look forward to the USCs, the UConn games, those games where we're man, let's embarrass these people on national TV. That was the stuff we spoke about more than anything. And plus Coach Cal and our coaching staff, they didn't really let us think outside of much. You know what I mean? Instead of caring about one another, Coach Cal, on our off days, it was mandatory you ate lunch at his house or ate dinner at his house, right? So we had to be around one another 24/7 and grew to love one another. I think that's why we didn't care who shined. We didn't care who shined, man. Everybody had their moment. And I think that we were all happy for each other every time each one of us had our moment. So I think that's what made us so special, where it was nobody cared about who scored the most points. As long as we won the game, we were all super excited.
Do you think it is harder with today's athletes to build that type of culture?
No, I don't think it you see UConn doing it. You see a lot of these schools doing it. It's it comes down to the coaches. You got to want that in your program. A lot of coaches probably say they do, but it's how you handle it. I think Coach Kyle, we had Derrick Rose. Coach Kyle, and Derrick was more of it's about the team. I told someone a story last night where every day, the first month, Derrick's on campus, Slam, Sports Illustrated, all these people coming to shoot magazine covers to him and things of that nature, and he hated it. And so Slam came in one morning and was hey, we want to do a photo shoot. You're going to be on the cover. Derrick's cool. He's we want to do more pictures. He's no, I'm only way I'm doing more pictures if my team is involved. We're looking what? So literally, coach makes our managers go get our uniforms. We put, I'm not sure if you guys recall, but we're in that team picture with Coach Cal in our Slam uniform. I'm sorry, in a Slam magazine where Coach Cal is in his practice attire because he wasn't expecting it. And he just made them go get our game uniforms, made us all put the same shoes on. Derrick was just that person. He never really cared for it to be about himself. And this is a freshman doing this. Most freshmen would have been hell no, this is about me. And I think he just really saw when he came to the campus how tight we were. He saw in practice how competitive we were and how, me and Chris never were on the same team in college for 3 years in practice. Coach made me guard him every day, right? And so it was the competitiveness. And then once me and Chris got chippy on the court, the second the whistle blew and we walked in the locker room, it's all hugs. Because we're also roommates for 3 years. Just I think Derrick seeing that you can be competitive and still once the whistle blows, that's all forgotten about. And I think that's played a big part in him coming to Memphis, and him being a part of what we were trying to do.
And then he obviously carried it over into the way he presented himself, the life he lived as an NBA player, that consummate team player, caring about his teammates like he did at the University of Memphis. From every account that I have read, from every interview that I have listened to, just a consummate team player, yet he was the MVP of the league. I mean, if it wasn't for injuries, Derrick Rose would go down as one of the great point guards in the history of the game. What was it like, again, from afar to a certain extent, but you obviously have seen him over the years or have talked to him or have gone to a game or two. What has it been like to see his progress as not only a basketball player to become a superstar, but as a man, as a human being?
It's been awesome because he never changed. Man, Derrick never changed. When you see him in person, it's laughter. It's, he cracks jokes and like certain things that happened back in the day. Like he's never changed, no matter his status of being an NBA MVP or whatever the case may be. He never changed, and I think that's why people love him so much. There's times he came to Boston to play, and like I went and saw him in the hotel, and go to games, and like everything is we literally just talk and laugh for hours about Coach Cal stories and certain things like that, and just wild stuff we did as a team, things like that, and it's all good times. But it's amazing to see. I wouldn't expect nothing less from someone like him. He never put himself before anybody. It was always about the team and his family, and I think that's why he's been so successful.
Did you have, after the 1 year at Memphis, did you see it happening as quickly as it did for him in the NBA? I mean, he was MVP in his third year in the league. Like, did you think he was going to be that good immediately in the NBA?
Oh, absolutely. You got to think about Derek was so special. Teams, as you guys go around us, so teams, some of the best teams in the country will play us in the zone because of him, right? Mm-hmm. Like, because how fast he was. And then we used to say to him, like, man, like, after we lost, and he told us, hey, I'm going to the NBA. We were like, it's going to be impossible for him to guard you. He's like, what? Like, that defensive 3 seconds, like, Derek's so fast that, like, he gets in the lane and you're not there. It's a layup or a dunk, that's what it turned to. He just was literally different, man. Like, he's different. Like, the kid worked so hard. Mm-hmm. Like, and, you guys, again, talk to you guys been there, you've seen practices. And,
right.
He was just relentless. Like, Coach Cal was on his ass every day. Then he's competing, Andre and Willie, like, every day. So, it was hard for him at first, but, then once he got the grip of everything and our system and how Coach wanted him to play, his talent took over.
Is there now you've been on many, many times and have told and talked about many different stories. Is there a good Derrick Rose story that maybe you haven't told before that you care to share with us from his playing days with you at the University of Memphis?
Yeah, there's a few. I think the slam one was a special one. Mm-hmm. I think another one where I think our first our first game of the season, we have our pregame meal we're staying at the Peabody. We stay there for every home game, and we're having our pregame meal, and we get in there, it's like grilled chicken and pasta and good stuff. And Derek is looking at us. He's like, "Hey, what the hell is this?" we're like, man, that's what we got. That's how we eat pregame. He's like, "I'm not eating this." So he's in there eating candy, and Coach Cal is like, "What the hell are you doing? Like, why are you eating Skittles before we play a game?" And Derek's like, "I don't eat that stuff. That's over there." Coach Cal's like, "Well, what the hell do you eat?" And he had the people from Peabody. Shout out to my guy Doug Brown. They literally had to go make him like chicken fingers every time we played. We're all looking like all of us eat, and some of us are like, man, like damn, like chicken fingers now, like what I mean. We all love chicken fingers, but Derek had his own portion. Like he just like funny stuff like that, man. Like
that's pretty funny.
Yeah, like he just would literally be on the bus. Then we'd get on the bus, and Coach Cal would be like, "Why the hell are you still eating Skittles?" We just had chicken fingers, and he just like that's just who he was, man.
He loved his candy, right? I always heard those stories that just candy. He ate so much candy.
Candy all day, man, all day. Like his room, go to his room. We play video games. Candy everywhere. We go to gas station, candy. I'm like, man, like how much? He's like, man, like, he loves candy. So, there was some great times with him. There was some great times with him for sure, man. He was a funny guy. Funny guy.
I know you said you haven't spoken to him, but you will, and leaving him be for a while here. But there's stories that he's going to stay in Memphis and maybe make his home here. I don't know if that's all accurate. It could be, but have you heard anything when you talk to Derek about life after basketball? What do you think he may do? You think he's just going to be a dad? And I know he's a good dad. Do you see him doing anything else in basketball down the road?
I'm not sure. Derek loves his family, so he's big on like being at his kids' events and being very present. So I'm not sure if he was to do something with basketball, that'd be amazing because he's got so much knowledge to give and to pour into the next generation. But him staying in Memphis, that'd be awesome. I know his kids are in school there where they were last year. So if he does, that'd be awesome. But who knows? And I think if he's able to get into basketball, people should be kicking his door down to get him to coach or help in any way possible because his basketball IQ and mind is absolutely insane. So for him to be able to touch and pour that on anybody, especially point guards, will be special.
Absolutely. Well, you're special, my friend. We always appreciate having you on. I still plan. We've talked about this before. I want to have a semi-reunion if we can. Now that Derrick Rose is retired, maybe. I know he doesn't do many interviews, but maybe he'll come on with you. And I know Dorsey's coaching now with Minnesota. We could get certainly Dozier's been on the show, and maybe a few other guys as well, and reminisce about the great times from that special year. And he's special. M Club Hall of Famer, coach up at the Darrow School in Massachusetts, Antonio Anderson. You can follow him on Twitter at ToneAnderson5. Let's always stay in touch, Tone. Appreciate you, man.
Well, thank you for having me.
Take care.
East Coast Wings and Grill. Today, more Major League Baseball action all day long. You could go over there. You could enjoy baseball, watching baseball during happy hour. Get 2-for-1 deals on the beers over there with the draft beers, 2-for-1 during happy hour. Other specials as well during happy hour from 3:30 until 6, so you can take advantage of that. Of course, all the games on, all the different TVs, enjoying that great food, like 60 different flavors of wings that you could choose from, or one of their great burgers or other sandwiches, one of their flatbreads, whatever it might be, delicious food on the menu over at East Coast Wings and Grill, plus 24 draft beers on tap for you to enjoy, plus any other drink that you want. They can take good care of you. East Coast Wings and Grill, located in Bartlett, just off Highway 64, Kate Hyde Boulevard, right between Lowe's and Walmart. That's where you'll find them, East Coast Wings and Grill.
We were talking about the proposal for the Super Conference, and Memphis would be included in that and all that jazz. And then, of course, going back to the Mountain West and the Pac-12 and the movement that continues out west. Memphis saying thanks but no thanks to the invite from the Pac. And then somebody had texted in about still stories out there that maybe they've re-engaged in conversations. Hitman Hoops, who was on our show, he has tweeted out here in the last 15 minutes that Memphis and the Pac-12 remain in ongoing discussions. Multiple sources confirmed. Discussions have started to ramp up again over the last few days, with the Pac-12 proposing creative solutions to ease Memphis's financial concerns. I have not heard anything about that. I certainly haven't had time to check on that to see if I can get that confirmed. He said a report yesterday claiming Memphis was not in the picture, not accurate. But again, this is one person who says that they think they're still in the conversations. I would, on the surface, not believe that. But again, I have not been able to look into whether that is going on or not. I'll try to check on that, and if I get any information, I'll pass that along. But that is Hitman Hoops tweeting out that about the Memphis Tigers, the University of Memphis, and the Pac-12. When we come back, I'll get his thoughts on the Super Conference. We'll talk all things college football with Jerry Palm from CBS Sports. This is Sports 56 Mornings with Greg and Eli on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Add a little fun to your lunch break. Join Johnny Radio for Sports 56 Happy Hour from 11 to 1 every weekday on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
You or someone you know or care about has dealt with a difficult divorce. When facing divorce, you need the attorneys at Rice Law. Nick and Larry Rice lead the firm with 3 generations and 7 decades of experience. Located in Memphis, serving the entire state of Tennessee and North Mississippi. Rice Law is who you need to call. Simple or difficult divorce, they know how to handle it. Call Rice Law at 901-526-6701, or for more information, visit them at aboutdivorce.com. That's aboutdivorce.com.
Don't do it.
Don't do what?
Don't do another Halloween spot for Central Barbecue.
But it's October. Doing a Halloween spot for Central Barbecue is a tradition.
But it doesn't make it a good thing.
Nothing else happens in October.
Baseball?
Not if you're a Cardinals fan. What else you got?
National Candy Corn Day.
No Central Barbecue connection.
Fair point. How about Make a Difference Day?
That's to encourage people to do something constructive for the world.
And going to Central Barbecue isn't?
I'm telling you, it's got to be Halloween.
There's no other choice, I guess.
Hey, Zeke.
Yeah?
This year, give the kiddies ribs on Halloween. They love that.
Seriously, next year, something new.
You know our trusted partner TireRack.com for their fast, free shipping, free road hazard protection, convenient installation options, and their great selection of best tires, like the highly consumer-rated Kumo Majesty 9 Solus TA91. But did you know they sell other automotive products? Wheels, brakes, suspension, just to name a few. Go to TireRack.com/Colin. TireRack.com, the way tire buying should be.
Nestled in the heart of East Memphis, located corner of Park and Cherry, is a beautiful residential neighborhood. I'm here at Town Village Audubon Park interviewing a new resident, Carolyn. Share with us why you chose Town Village.
Well, if your parents or special friends need to make that big move, let me share with you my experience. It was tough for me to leave home, but then I discovered Town Village. I would like to highly recommend Town Village to you and your loved ones. After looking at all the amenities and meeting all the people and staff, I was hooked. From restaurant, bistro, 3 meals per day, housekeeping, transportation, security, health care, physical therapy, exercise room, and even a heated pool and spa. Come see us and make your new home at Town Village.
Visit us and call Daniel at Town Village Audubon Park at 901-374-7342. There's no place like home, Town Village.
Sports 56 traffic.
Good morning. A little bit crowded there on Austin Peay Highway getting up on that ramp to I-40. It's deciding to pick up over here now on 40 westbound from Germantown Parkway all the way to Sycamore View Road. You still got a lot of traffic building in right now from Fayette County into Shelby County, but it's moving on 40 going westbound all the way up to Sycamore View Road. If you'd like to help the hurricane flood victims out in Tennessee and western North Carolina, you can donate now to the American Red Cross. That website, it's easy. It's redcross.org and help make a difference. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Now back to Sports 56 mornings on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by James Gaddis Jewelers.
Diamonds are forever.
Here once again, Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy.
Welcome back, everyone. 8:27 the time. Jerry Palm in just a moment. At 9:05, we'll head to Nashville, where the Grizzlies are conducting camp, and DeMichael Cole from the Commercial Appeal will join us. Time now to talk some college football with JP.
It's time for Sports 56 Mornings Weekly Chat with Jerry Palm, college football and basketball writer and bracketologist for CBSSports.com. Here are Greg, Eli, and Jerry.
He is Jerry Palm, CBS Sports, CBSSports.com. You can follow him on Twitter at JPPalmCBS. Listen to him every Wednesday during this time slot, both during the college football and college basketball seasons. How are you?
A little sore, but otherwise all right.
Is it turning into real fall up where you are?
It is, yeah. We've had highs in like the upper 60s, so it's starting to come down.
Yeah.
We're starting to see, leaves change a little bit. Yeah.
Starting to feel like real football season. All right.
Yeah.
So a lot of stuff off the field that we'll talk about first, and then we'll dive into the games. I'm sure you saw this story of this super league called the College Student Football League, which was put together by a group called College Sports Tomorrow, a group of executives and administrators. We talked about it earlier in the show. I know it's far-fetched, but it's not crazy, especially if you believe that the SEC and the Big Ten are going to pull away from everybody else. This is more inclusive, at least.
Yeah, I don't know if they can pull that off or not, but I think it's much more likely to happen within the structure of what the SEC and the Big Ten are trying to do. I hate all of it. I hate all of it. I guess I'm that curmudgeonly. But yeah, I don't like the way money is consuming college sports. That's why we have professional sports. I don't know, but it's I think if something like that is going to happen, it's going to happen through the structure of the conferences. I don't think it's going to be an outside entity.
By the way, do you know who comprises that committee?
No.
Okay.
You mean in that other
College Sports
organization?
Tomorrow? Yes.
Yeah, they have the list.
No.
Like you look at the list.
Yeah, no, I haven't seen it, so I didn't know if you
Jimmy
knew.
Haslam,
I don't
Jimmy
know.
Haslam's one of the big guys.
Oh, that's
on it.
right. I did.
There's,
Yeah, I saw that.
It's a lot of big money guys, and then there's some ADs and other people involved.
I mean, I don't. Okay, look, I understand and I don't understand. Sankey's power. Okay, I mean, it's just it's nuts how powerful this guy is. Do you believe, like Eli believes, that it is going to happen? It is going to be a breakaway of the two power conferences. Many believe that the ACC and the Big 12 are a notch below, that maybe they should be in a different division altogether because the Big 10 and the SEC are the two power conferences, that there will be this breakaway. There'll probably be 20 in each and make it 40 teams that'll play for their own championship. Do you believe that's the route we're headed?
I think that's certainly a route that could come from this. I would not be surprised to see some of the other big programs in those other leagues. Possibly, I could see where the Big Ten and the SEC just take their most attractive teams and grab the most attractive teams from other leagues and put together maybe 32 or 40. So that maybe Northwestern is no longer part of it, for example. Or Vanderbilt may no longer be part of it. Things like that. But I think that certainly whatever happens is going to start with the SEC and the Big Ten.
I mean, that's my thing. Like there really isn't a power 4; it is a power 2.
Yeah, I mean, when I think about, who are realistic playoff teams, I mean, I've done projections with 4 Big 12 teams, because of, records, projected records from, way early in the season and picking favorites all the way out, which doesn't happen. But, it's more likely at the end that you could have 1 or 2 teams from the ACC, 1 or 2 teams from the Big 12, but maybe no more than 3 between them.
Yeah.
2 of which are automatic, and everything else is SEC and Big 10.
Well, the thing,
but and especially the way the conference schedules shake out this year with so few teams playing each other at the top of these leagues. There are obvious exceptions. Georgia's playing seemingly everybody, but you could have, you could have a bunch of teams that are 10-2 and have lost only to each other, maybe, and
right.
They're just not. How do you separate those teams?
Well, the thing is, like the other conference, like the Big 12 and the ACC, like understand it. I mean, the Big 10 and the SEC are getting more money from the playoff contract. Like those two conferences understand it already. Like we are not on equal playing field as you two.
They're already not. You're right. They're already not. But there are unequal playing fields even within those leagues.
Oh yes, no question.
If I'm not mistaken, the Big 10 right now makes more than the SEC.
Yes.
Yeah,
although the SEC's new deal just kicked in this year, so
but
the Big Ten
but they're also distributing it to 2 more teams.
That's right, right. But and then Commissioner Tony.
So the per team value in the SEC might be more.
Yeah,
anyway.
This is the first year of the new SEC TV deal with ESPN, so I'm not sure. I can't
remember. So it's probably SEC.
Yeah, I know the Big Ten there for a while was making more. Now, of course, the Big Ten has gone through a different commissioner. Tony Batiti hasn't been there a long time. He's still very, very powerful, but to me, it feels like his power pales in comparison to Sankey. Sankey is the most powerful guy in collegiate football, and I don't think there's
is. I think that's fair. I mean, Batiti, because he's the commissioner of the Big Ten, even if he got that job yesterday, it's still
exactly.
a
But I
big-time
think
power
Sankey,
broker.
because
he just doesn't have the experience in college sports that Sankey does.
Yes, and Sankey's been outspoken about a lot of different things, and now, of course, the latest. Well, what he has?
No, I know he has. But what I'm saying is, it's what they say behind the scenes that probably carries more weight.
Well, one of your colleagues. Well, she's not your colleague. She's not. She's at ESPN. But Heather Dinich had the story yesterday about the new deal when it's done for the college football playoff. Remember, as you know, there's only one more year after this year. They only did a 2-year deal, which again drives me crazy because they're going to have to
do it. Which was actually, I think the old deal went through 2026. So when they expanded the playoff,
they just changed it.
Okay,
Yeah,
so they
changed the
revised
playoff within the terms of the contract. The contract hadn't expired. They just changed the structure.
That's right.
And it goes through the end of the contract, which is next year.
Okay, but I guess the point is that they're going to have to negotiate a new contract very, very soon, yet we still don't know about the landscape of college football, where it's going, what may happen. We just talked about a possible breakaway, and she had on her story that one of the demands, wishes, probably more than a wish, that the SEC and the Big Ten is going to want is 8 teams automatically, 4 for each of those leagues, whether it be an increase in playoff teams or not.
Yeah, they're talking about, I've heard, and Heather's a good reporter, so.
She is.
Yeah, it's, I have heard, like 3 or 4 per league, and that they might expand it to 14 to get some more of the other teams in. But yeah, it's they're asserting their power. There's no question about it.
Yeah, and that's minimum 4 for each.
But
they're still at larges they could still get, and will
correct.
get, and will get
well,
probably.
I mean, if you guarantee one spot for each of the other 2 conferences and one for the group of 5, then you're already at 11.
Right.
So there are a lot of other at-large teams available.
Right.
And
if
which
they go
is
to
why
16,
they talk
it'd be
about
5.
8 guaranteed and 14 total, so you've got a few more at-large.
Yeah, the 14 seems to be the popular opinion of where it's going to go.
Why? Why
I think,
14?
by the way, that's just an ugly number.
Yes, why don't they go?
Yeah.
You know they're going to go to 16 eventually.
Yeah, why not just do it?
Do it now.
It doesn't take any more time on the calendar to go to 16 than it does to go to 14.
Yes.
You need an extra week period.
Right.
So
right.
The how did the Alabama win over Georgia? How did that shake up what you have as far as your bowl projections?
Well,
your
not
playoff
as much
projection.
as you think, because I had Texas as the champion, and that doesn't affect that. So I still have Texas as the champion, and what it does is it switches Alabama and Georgia in the at-large pool.
Well, that's right.
So that Alabama is now the top SEC team in the at-large pool.
So what do you think? What can Georgia still afford to have happen to still make it into the playoffs? One more loss? Is it possible that a 3-loss
10-2 Georgia with their schedule is definitely a playoff.
How about a 3-loss Georgia?
Maybe, depending on who they lose to and what other teams are doing. But their 9-3 is going to be better than a lot of other teams 10-2.
That's what I'm thinking.
Georgia, if you look at the schedules for these SEC teams, there's not a lot of interplay among those top teams, except Georgia, who is seemingly playing everybody.
Yes,
Right.
they play. They
So-
play all the other top ones.
So 9-3 Georgia is still going to have probably 2 quality wins if you count Clemson, and then at least one SEC quality win. You know, whereas Tennessee can go 10-2 and not have beaten anybody. So I would put 9-3 Georgia ahead of the 10-2 Tennessee, the 10-2 Tennessee that loses to Alabama and Georgia. Georgia's ahead of them. So, you know, 9-3 Georgia is, you know, barring a significant upset that in one of those losses, is still going to be one of the better teams that for a playoff spot, and easily I would think the best 9-3 team for a playoff spot, and better than some of the 10-2s.
You still have, if I'm not mistaken, if I'm looking at this right on the CBSSports.com website, Utah in as one of the top 4.
Even after the loss, still the conference champion. But I'm concerned about Cam Rising because if he never comes back, that's probably not going to happen.
Yes, that's what I was going to ask you, because you do have Iowa State in as an at-large. You got Utah winning the Big 12. How about, where does BYU fall into your mindset right now?
Yeah, I mean, I'm still, kind of watching them. Obviously, they're undefeated. You can't ignore them. I want to see what they do when they hit the road against some of these better teams. But, yeah, I mean, they certainly have to be considered at least on the radar. If you were to put a bubble together, they'd be on it. I think it's too early for that kind of a thing. But, if you were to put the bubble together, they'd have to be one of those teams.
Do you think I assume you believe that whoever makes the SEC championship game and the Big Ten championship game, all of those teams will be in regardless of outcome of championship games?
Yeah, barring something really strange, yes.
Because you're obviously you would think it would be no more because with the non-conference pretty much already done, nobody's taken a. I mean, I guess what if like Michigan was in the Big Ten championship game and took a second loss. Well, I guess if they lost one Big Ten game, still made the championship game, and then lost that would be 3 losses.
What's the Texas? Yeah. Yeah. As long as they aren't bad losses, they're going to have some good wins. They already have one over USC, so I would think that Michigan's a contender. 9-3 Georgia that we just described is better, but yeah, Michigan would have to be a contender there. Besides, Michigan is not 9-3 in that case; they're 10-3.
Yeah, they're 10-3. Yeah.
So that's different. I would think that I think it would be a strange circumstance for a conference championship game loser in either of those leagues to not be a playoff team.
Boise, and understandably so, is your Group of 5 representative. They looked great in dismantling Washington State. It's a pretty good Washington State team.
Yeah.
Genti looks like a Heisman candidate. So if they continue on, they're going to have UNLV, and they may meet them twice. UNLV looks like they're a pretty good team. May meet them twice, but Boise State's safe play right now. So I'm looking down the list at other bowl games. And you have Memphis playing in the Military Bowl. Please change that. I don't want to go back to Annapolis. We were just in Annapolis. It's a beautiful place. But I'm telling you, Orlando, the Cure Bowl, they want Memphis. They came. I was down on the field in Tallahassee for the Florida State game, and they thought, it was a representative from Memphis. So they started to, kiss my tail about coming to the Cure Bowl. And I'm like, I'm just a sideline reporter, man.
Is the Cure at an AAC Bowl?
They said we want Memphis. I'm
Okay.
telling you, the two representatives.
I was thinking it was. I thought it was basically 2 pool teams. That doesn't mean that Memphis couldn't play there.
Exactly, but hopefully, hopefully Memphis. They're going to need a lot to happen to get back into the picture for the Group of 5. A lot to happen. They're going to have to win all their games. Who knows? And
they don't control their own fate.
They do not. So one team you do not have in as a playoff team is Tennessee. What do you think is going to happen the rest of the way with the Vols?
Well, I kind of just threw it out there momentarily as I was talking about Georgia, but if Tennessee is 10-2, which is my projection, and the losses are Georgia and Alabama, who are their wins? Oklahoma, maybe a 7-5 team. I mean, that might be the best team they beat.
Mm-hmm.
So now maybe that'll be enough to get them in, depending on what other teams do. But if you're 10-2 and you haven't beaten a team with a pulse, a team with, the SEC teams are not bad, but still, you don't have a win over anybody that's maybe 7-5. Your competition is, you haven't got anything to really hang your hat on except a big number on the left.
Yeah, you have to beat one of the top 5 or 6 teams in your conference, right? You would have to at least have that on your resume, and they wouldn't.
Yeah, but your conference standings don't matter.
No, I'm just saying, we know who the top 5 or 6 teams are, and if you turn around and you don't have a win against any of them, it's hard because the committee.
And you're 0-2 because you didn't play most of them. So
right.
Now, they're going to get Alabama here in a couple weeks. And
I think they're going to beat them, but who knows?
Well, and if they do, this is completely different. If they beat Alabama or Georgia, then they're virtually a lock to make the playoff unless they give it away with a stupid loss,
Right. What about, and the final thing for you, what about Ole Miss? How much damage?
Yeah, it really hurts. They bounced out, I think, of my playoff projection that they weren't even in, actually, now that I think about it, because that was another team I had as a soft 10-2. Well, now they've got a loss that's pretty much a stinker of a loss. So, unless unless it turns out to be a better team than we thought, but now they
need to beat Georgia.
To
yeah,
huh?
They need to beat
Georgia. They pretty much do because they don't have anybody else, do they, on their schedule?
No, they're
right. That's another team like Tennessee.
They're at
that didn't play
LSU, but LSU's not going to be a playoff team, I don't think.
Well, but you could still lose that game. At LSU, LSU was good enough to win that game.
No question.
So, it's in fact that was part of my projection for Ole Miss was a loss at LSU and a loss to Georgia, right? Because Georgia plays everybody. So now you got to win. Maybe Georgia. Because I don't know if they beat LSU. Maybe LSU's not that great a win.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you put yourself behind the 8 ball. No question about it. When you lose to a team you're expected to win, especially at home. We always win when Jerry's on. JP's been on with us for years and years and will continue to do so each and every Wednesday during both the college football and basketball seasons. You can follow him on Twitter at JPPalmCBS. Read his bowl projections, CBSSports.com. JP, have a great week. We'll talk to you next Wednesday.
All right, thanks.
Thanks, man. Corky's Ribs and Barbecue. You're always a winner when you go to Corky's. Corky's for lunch, for dinner. If you want an event that you're having, that you're hosting catered, they can do that as well. Great for tailgating. Bring that Corky's barbecue to football games or any other sporting events. You can dine in at any of their 4 convenient restaurants, Poplar Avenue in Memphis, Poplar Avenue in Collierville, Germantown Parkway in Cordova, or Goodman Road in Olive Branch. You can zip through the drive-thru, no contact delivery, have any of the delivery services delivered to your home or office. They also have lunch specials every single day, so check them out. When you head there for lunch or dinner, you get yourself your entree, add a third of a rack of ribs for just $7.99. Party pack start at just $7.49. Start yourself out with a cheese and sausage plate. They also have great desserts. I mean, outstanding desserts. And if you want to go away from the barbecue family, they got an award-winning catfish plate. They had a burger there the other day, which was terrific. They have tamales, all kinds of great stuff at Corky's Ribs and Barbecue. Reserve their private party room for a birthday or an anniversary celebration you have coming up. Just give them a call at either the Cordova or the Olive Branch location. Corky's Ribs and Barbecue, open for lunch and dinner 7 days a week. You're listening to Sports 56 Mornings with Greg and Eli on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56, 98.5 FM.
This is Troy Fiveash, owner of Fiveash Roofing. In these uncertain economic times, there are so many things as a contractor and a business owner that I cannot control. The rising cost of materials, not to mention fuel and transportation costs. In the last 2 years, shingle prices have almost doubled, and commercial materials have doubled. And I don't have to tell you what fuel costs these days. But you know what I can control? How much markup I put on a project. I have always prided myself in knowing I never gouge a customer. But in an effort to ensure my crews have work and my customers are being treated fairly, I have lowered my profit margin, hoping to give you a price you can live with and keeping my crews busy. So if you need a roof or gutters, please give us a call. Fiveash Roofing, fair, honest, and ethical. Fiveash Roofing, a proud sponsor of Tiger Athletics and a member of the Tigers home team. 367-0050 or MemphisRoofer.com. 367-0050 or MemphisRoofer.com.
Warning, the following ZipRecruiter radio spot you are about to hear is going to be filled with F-words.
When you're hiring, we at ZipRecruiter know you can feel frustrated. And you can spend a fortune trying to find fabulous people, only to get flooded with candidates who are just fine. Fortunately, ZipRecruiter figured out how to fix all of that. We find the right people for your roles fast, which is our absolute favorite F word. Just go to ZipRecruiter.com/free to try ZipRecruiter for free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
They're taking care of business in Memphis, right on the river with Grind City Brewing and all of their great products. Look, this was a dream come true for a father and son duo. And if you have not been to that brewery right on the river, just to the north of downtown, you're really missing something special. And now you can't miss their products. Wherever you go, you see a brand new label. It's clean, it's beautiful, it's distinctive. You'll know Grind City Brewing, and of course you know their products like Poppy's Pills, that great Pilsner, or Tiger Tail, that very creative craft malt liquor. There's the new Thaddeus Amber Lager. That is absolutely a great light beer. There's the India Pale called Godhopper. It's outstanding. And then there's the Belga, the Belgian-style wheat ale. They keep bringing hits at Grind City Brewing.
Now back to Sports 56 Mornings on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by James Gaddis Jewelers.
Don't you just love it?
Here once again, Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy.
A report out of Austin that Texas quarterback Quinn Ewers participated in practice yesterday, received the first team reps. They do not play this week, Texas. They have a bye, and then they play Oklahoma in the Red River rivalry next week. And according to the story and their source, no way he misses this game or the rest of the season. He wants to win the SEC and a natty. So Arch Manning, a pretty good backup. Quinn Ewers, though, expected to be back in the lineup next week for Texas.
Got a text on the Sissy's Log Cabin listener line. Texter says, we cannot, that's all capitals with the not, stay long-term in the league we are in. It's a death sentence. The Big 12 doesn't want us, and the ACC shows no signs of breaking up, and we are down their list anyway. Okay, first of all, how can you say there's no signs of the ACC breaking up when there are two schools literally filing lawsuits to try and be able to get out of the conference? I would say that's a sign. It's at the very least a sign.
There is definitely signs of teams wanting to leave the ACC. Not just signs, there are lawsuits going on. But the point about Memphis, you know, it's understandable if people like myself are a little suspect about Memphis being in that mix because they never seem to be in any mix until this pack, which again was not a good enough offer for them to say yes to. So I'm not going to sit here like this texter and just think, well, even if Florida State and Clemson leave, I don't think you're going to see the breakup of the ACC like you saw the Pac-12. I don't know how many spots would be available. Maybe Memphis would be considered this time around because they got good publicity at least out of this whole thing with the Pac, but I'm not holding my breath about it. So, and then who knows if it'll happen and when it will happen. But again, you don't take a bad deal. And that first offer they got from the Pac was a bad offer. Yes, the Big 12 has shunned Memphis several times. I wouldn't hold my breath on that one either. Certainly not going to the Big 10 or the SEC. So there's not too many choices. That's where you are right now. And it's unfortunate. But it could be worse. You could be in Conference USA still. You could be in the MAC. You can make a lot less money in the Sun Belt. This is where you are now.
I think like that. Nobody's happy like that. It's not like they're like, man, we're thrilled with where we are. Like they would love to do it, but you have to have that option. You have to have a place to go, and you don't just go to say you switch conferences. If it's not a good deal, well, that would be dumb to just switch conferences just to say you switch conferences.
Yeah, and there's still people and journalists. They're still adamant about that Memphis should have taken that deal, and they keep bringing up basketball. Stop bringing up basketball just because Gonzaga went to this Pac. I know Memphis plays in a crappy basketball league, although they didn't help themselves last year. They should win the conference every year. You win the conference every year, you go to the damn tournament. And once you're in the tournament, you can win the national championship. So what's it matter with basketball? You want a harder conference? Maybe they'll get multiple bids. Maybe they won't. So I don't even understand that. Plus, that's not what stirs the drink. It's football. Basketball is going to be fine. Yes, attendance won't be because people want to see better teams, and unless Penny's able to bring some of those big-time teams into FedEx Forum, which he has done a pretty damn good job of, that's the way it's going to be. And it's not like Boise State and Fresno State in basketball, and Washington State and Oregon State would pack out FedEx Forum. So you might as well take advantage of the conference you're in and win the damn thing every year. And they didn't last year. So basketball, to me, forget about it. Don't even talk about basketball. It's all about football.
I don't. Probably, I guess, the greatest run that as far as putting years together for Memphis basketball happened when they were in a terrible conference for basketball.
Right.
They just dominated it. And you know what they did? They filled the building because they were ranked in the top 5 in America. So you can do whatever you want in basketball. And having an easy conference, and you start winning, going undefeated in conference play and all that stuff, you're going to be just fine. You have to dominate the bad conference like they did when John Calipari was here.
It's that simple. It is. It's that simple. You make money for as far as you go in the tournament. You bring a big check in for doing that.
4 straight years they finished the season ranked in the top 5 of the AP poll. They were playing in Conference USA.
Gonzaga was in the WCC.
The conference doesn't matter.
Yeah. Gonzaga's going to make more money because they were in the WCC. And they're getting the benefit of getting a full share, even though they don't have a football program, because they are desperate in the pack. And Gonzaga helps, yes, because it helps in basketball. But in football, it doesn't make a difference. So why not take advantage of what you have now, where you're actually making more money than the current situation and what the proposal is and what the offer was. Take advantage of the conference you're in right now for basketball. For football, it's a solid conference. Again, we're talking group of 5 conferences. It's a solid conference, and you still should be one of the best. It'll be incredibly disheartening if they don't get to the conference championship game this year. But again, the pack, man, that move in basketball, stop it. Stop it. Take your basketball skills, speaking of basketball, to the next level at Shoot 360 Memphis. What is Shoot 360 Memphis? What, have you been in a cave? You listen to the show every day. You know it's a revolutionary basketball training facility that combines cutting-edge technology with gamification, provides instant, objective feedback with hands-on, one-on-one expert coaching. And I mean expert, top-of-the-line coaching. They have the new Cordova facility open, newly renovated, 50,000-square-foot facility. They got 2 NBA regulation-size courts. They got 3 high school-size courts. They got 4 shooting bays with Shoot 360 technology. Bring your team over to Shoot 360. Obviously, for parents and grandparents and coaches of teams, your players, your sons, your daughters, your grandsons, your granddaughters, your nephews, your nieces, it makes sense to learn basketball using modern analytics, the best technology possible, and great coaching. So whether you're an aspiring young talent, NBA player like Steph Curry, who uses this system, literally uses it, or you're looking for a unique workout, all skill levels are welcome at Shoot 360 Memphis. 2 locations, Cordova and Collierville. You become a member at both, and they're now doing monthly memberships. So you don't get bogged down, with a long-term contract. You can take it month to month if you like. Give them a call in Cordova at 901-779-3176 or in Collierville, 901-316-5500. You can go online to sign up at Shoot 360 Memphis. The future of basketball training is here at Shoot 360 Memphis. Coming up, we open Hour 3 talking Grizzlies. We'll head to Nashville and check in with DeMichael Cole. This is Sports 56 Mornings with Greg and Eli on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Replaced, there's only one name you need to know: Binswanger Glass, the largest full-service glass company in the U.S. They've been an industry leader for over 145 years. For all your residential, commercial, or auto glass needs, Binswanger Glass is the name you need to know. 24-hour emergency service for all commercial customers, plus a nationwide warranty on all professionally installed glass. Visit Binswanger Glass in Midtown at 340 South Hollywood, across from the Liberty Bowl. Visit BinswangerGlass.com. Binswanger Glass.
Is your wife
wife asking you to stop eating junk food? Well, we have you covered at Humdinger's. It's quick and it's healthy, and most important, it tastes amazing. With many choices from salmon salad to rainbow trout and grilled asparagus. Come visit us for lunch at Humdinger's, 6300 Poplar Avenue. So good, Coach Penny eats with us weekly. Don't forget, Humdinger's offers full-service catering for weddings, social events, or your corporate lunches. You can call 901-260-8292 to find out more.
We're going abroad for the first time in years, to Spain. So we started using Babbel.
And started learning Spanish fast. With Babbel, you can start having conversations in another language in just 3 weeks.
¿Cómo te llamas?
¿Cómo te llamas? When you learn a language, you want to actually use it. Babbel is designed with that goal in mind.
In just 3 weeks, we're starting to have conversations in Spanish. Gracias, Babbel.
Babbel, language for life. Now try Babbel for free at Babbel.com. That's BABBEL.com.
Nestled in the heart of East Memphis, located corner of Park and Cherry, is a beautiful residential neighborhood. I'm here at Town Village Audubon Park interviewing a new resident, Carolyn. Share with us why you chose Town Village.
Well, if your parents or special friends need to make that big move, let me share with you my experience. It was tough for me to leave home, but then I discovered Town Village. I would like to highly recommend Town Village to you and your loved ones. And after looking at all the amenities and meeting all the people and staff, I was hooked. From restaurant, bistro, 3 meals per day, housekeeping, transportation, security, health care, physical therapy, exercise room, and even a heated pool and spa. Come see us and make your new home in Town Village.
Visit us and call Daniel at Town Village Audubon Park at 901-374-7342. There's no place like home, Town Village.
Traffic brought to you by 901 Eats to Go, 3135 Kirby Whitten Road in Bartlett. Pick up, DoorDash, Uber Eats, or online at 901eats.com. Eats with the Z. Good food fast.
Sports 56 traffic.
Good morning. There is still some volume making its way down I-40 westbound over here around 269 Chambers Chapel, Canada Road coming in from Fayette County. It remains a little bit busy there southbound. Austin P Highway getting up on that ramp there to I-40. Still moving right now in the Midtown area on 240 northbound at Lamar. If you'd like to help out the Hurricane Helene flood victims in Tennessee and western North Carolina, you can donate right now at the American Red Cross. Just log on to redcross.org. That's redcross.org. Help make a difference. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Sports 56, WHBQ Memphis, and W253DF Memphis with Dave Woloshin, weekday mornings from 10 to 11.
Welcome back, everyone. 9:03 the time. Hour 3 here on Sports 56 Mornings on this Hump Day, October 2nd, 2024 edition of the program. Greg Aston, Eli Savoy, and Elijah Seegers, our new producer. We're in the Family Leisure Studios. Family Leisure, 2120 Whitten Road, just north of I-40. The world's biggest spa sale continues. Up to 60. It'll get up to now 79, they're saying, today. Sunshine, then tonight, clear skies, with an overnight low of 54. Jenkins Floors and More is the third-hour sponsor of Sports 56 Mornings. They specialize in flooring and carpeting, so if you're looking for the best, they have the best. Ceramic and porcelain tiles, hardwoods by Portercraft, carpeting from Southern Luxury Carpet, SPC and WPC vinyls, which are scratch-resistant, waterproof, backsplashes for your kitchens and bathrooms, plantation shutters and blinds as well. They have it all for you at Jenkins Floors and More. The showroom, the new showroom and warehouse open at 2356 Goodman Road in Horn Lake. Visit them today. They're open Monday through Saturday, or call them at 662-469-9350. They sell at wholesale, saving you lots of money in the process. Jenkins Floors and More. By the way, before we bring DeMichael on, it's finally official with the Karl Anthony Towns trade. It's amazing how many little intricacies they have to go through to get the trade done.
They needed the third team and figure it all out financially. It's a lot to determine.
There's a lot. I mean, you got to be MIT graduate pretty much to figure all that stuff out. But the basics are, again, the Knicks get Karl Anthony Towns, the T-Wolves get Julius Randle, Dante DiVincenzo, and a 2025 Detroit top 13 protected first-round pick. The Hornets were the third team involved. It is time now to head to Nashville and talk with DeMichael Cole.
It's time to talk some Grizzlies basketball. Joining Greg and Eli is DeMichael Cole, Grizzlies beat writer for the Commercial Appeal. Here's DeMichael with Greg and Eli.
He is DeMichael Cole, Grizzlies beat writer for the Commercial Appeal. You can follow him on Twitter at DeMichaelC. How is Nash Vegas treating you?
It's been cool. I actually got here yesterday, so I got in, pretty much went straight to the Grizzlies practice. Went to the wrong place, but it's all good. It's all good.
Where did you go, and where are they practicing?
They're at Ensworth. Right? They're at Ensworth High School. Now, I'm a little familiar with Ensworth because I followed the preps in the state and all that just as a fan. So like Corn Elder, like 10, 12 years ago, like that he had the best high school tape in the state for me. Probably the last he was like some Reggie Bush Tennessee version. But anyway, I typed in Ensworth on my phone. I'm not thinking anything of it. Like the Grizzlies on their part, they sent the exact address and everything. But I just typed in Ensworth School. And I get to Nashville. Luckily, I gave myself a little, some time to spare. But I pulled up to the middle school. So I'm sitting in the middle school parking lot, and I'm like, I don't see this isn't where they are because they showed me the background of where they are. And then I thought about it. I was like, okay, that means they're at the high school. But I was like, it's no sweat, right? High school's probably 2 minutes around the corner. High school here is 14 minutes away from the middle school. So now I'm scared because, practice is, around the corner. I'm like, man, sometimes they'll open up a couple minutes early, but everything worked out, so it's all good.
Yeah, I don't know where the middle school is. I've been to the high school a few different times. It's a pretty nice place. Pretty nice little place they've got there.
It's real nice. I mean, I was like, how Briarcrest and like Lausanne, some of the Memphis schools, they have a campus, and it's all of them. It's the younger group, it's the older group. They all in the same vicinity. So I just didn't understand why the middle school was 6 miles from the high school.
How is now? I haven't been to every private school campus in Memphis. I think I've been to most of them. Of course, my son went to Christian Brothers. My daughter went to St. Agnes. But we were at an event for my granddaughter who raced in a triathlon. She's an incredible athlete. We went to St. George's. Now, I've been there before. That campus is huge, sprawling, beautiful. Have you been to St. George's, and how does it compare to Ensworth?
Man, I've been by St. George's. I've never really went in it.
Okay.
I've been Briarcrest. I've been to MUS.
Briarcrest is big too.
Of course, Christian Brothers, like you just said. Briarcrest, especially if you want to talk about athletic facilities, Briarcrest is probably, tit for tat. They have a goal of being one of the best in the state. I think they just spent, hope I don't get the number wrong, around $12 million on their athletic facilities. Probably, maybe, it was this summer, I think. Not too long ago, probably about 4 months ago. So they got some nice stuff in there. Turf, indoor, field, nice big film room with the projector screens and all that. But Ensworth, they had I want to say 8 practice courts, six at least. And I'm like, what? This isn't a huge campus. I think someone told me it's I forget the exact number, but it wasn't a huge number of kids that go there. So I'm like, don't you think that's a little bit overkill? But when the money's coming in like that, you can just put 2 more courts up.
Each kid gets their own practice.
Well, the whole thing. The way the school came about, it's overkill. Literally, you want your daughters to go to you want an MBA to make an exception for your daughters. They say no. You say fine. I'll just build my own school. Like that's overkill to begin with. Like that is the definition of overkill. They can't go to this school. Fine, I'll build a school and they'll go there.
Is that what happened?
Yes.
Oh my gosh, that's incredible. All right, let's get to the Grizzlies. Oh, can't go one day without an injury. Jaren Jackson Jr., hamstring tightness. What are we talking about here, and when is this imaging going to be done?
I think we'll learn more probably tomorrow, but it's a possibility it could be today too. I just knew yesterday it was in the next couple of days, kind of the time frame when we know more. Right now, I don't think this is anything serious. It's just, typical soft tissue injuries. Guys take a lot of time off. And, of course, he's been ramping up practicing and whatnot. But when you get back and, the Grizzlies, it's the reason this is called training camp. These aren't preseason practices. This is training camp. So, they're going at it. And, he was driving to the basket, felt something, in his hamstring or whatnot. I heard that he got a little bit more work in. So, we'll see, just where it goes from here. But I don't think it's anything overly serious. Unless, I'd be surprised if this is something we're talking about regular season time.
Yeah, hopefully it's obviously nothing serious. I do get a little leery when it's hamstring like that. Those can those be that nagging thing that kind of keeps coming back.
Yeah, it can be, but I'll say this: Jaren is 25, so if he was a little bit older, probably a little bit more concerning. But unless it's a grade 2, grade 3 thing where it's going to take a lot of time to heal, some hammies, 1 week, you really can push the envelope if you choose to. But this feels like he was driving to the basket. It doesn't seem like it was something where he was full speed chasing someone down or something or anything like that. So I don't foresee it being that bad.
Well, hopefully it's not, although we were talking earlier about the luck of the Grizzlies.
Yeah, right.
And either it's just this team's just got bad luck, jinx or whatever, or it's a bunch of coincidences, or if it's neither one of those, then we got to start talking about off-season conditioning and workouts with training staffs, because it's crazy how many injuries. They've had a bunch of different kinds of injuries, but it is nuts how many injuries they've had. So hopefully it's enough of that injury talk, and they'll get healthy from here on out. But we do know that, obviously, at the start of the season, they will not have Vince Williams. They will not have G.G. Jackson. What was the vibe yesterday? How much did you get a chance to watch it as far as practice is concerned, if any? And then what was the vibe?
Yeah, I'm telling you, man, it's like a business approach around here. I'm used to, because if you didn't know the team, like, this would be the thing. Like, if this is your first time watching the Grizzlies practice or whatnot, you think, man, they don't look like they're loose. And, everyone looks kind of tense. But you flip that around, someone who's been around the team a while, like myself, it's not that. It's just, they're just trying to get the work in. It's all about the work. Like Taylor says, look, like, even though, optimism is cool and stuff like that, like, they're not even leaning on that. Usually, you lean on optimism this part of the season. He's like, no, we just got to put the work in at this point. Like, yeah, sure, we think we can do this, we think we can do that, but, oh, well, like, we have to put the work in. So I think that's kind of the vibe that I've gotten. We didn't see much of the team portion of practice, a lot of individual stuff. Zach Edey shooting 3-pointers. I know people want to see that, but, it's not gonna look bad in practice. Let me get that out of the way. I'm not gonna hype up the Zach Edey practice 3-pointers too much. But
please,
I would say Jake Sakalidis used to stand at the 3-point line and knock down threes constantly.
So did
Ahmed
Haddad.
Any of those guys could do that. Like, you just let them stand there and shoot. Those guys could all shoot.
Yep. Yeah, they're professional. I think people forget these are professional athletes that train every day, 6 days out of 7. And they go hard. Like, knocking down 3-pointers with no sense of defense in the world in the same spot, just repeating mechanics. That's simple for them. So, yeah.
We haven't, this is the first we've had you on since the Vince Williams news came out. How do you, we talked about GG. He was, kind of fringe rotation. We all believe Vince is certainly a part of the rotation.
For sure.
How do you see those minutes being filled? Is it Laravia, Conchar, a combination? How do you think this plays out now with him out to start the year?
I think it's a combination. Preseason is going to be important because it's going to serve as kind of like a separator in some way, shape, or form. But at the end of the day, Vince Williams is not going to miss a lot of time.
Yeah.
Like, I think I saw, like he said at media day he wants to be on the all defensive team, right? And there were people like, well, how's that going to happen? Like, he's hurt. It's like, he's not going to miss that many games. If he misses 2 regular season weeks, he'll miss 6 games, I think. Like, maybe 7. So, all of his goals still are clearly out in front of him. And with that being said, you're talking 6, 7 regular season games of John Conchar, Jake LaRavia potentially filling in, or whatever the case may be. The Vince Williams injury to me isn't really a big deal. He was someone, we just talked about players at practice. He was working out at practice, not doing anything, too demanding, but playing out of pick and roll, throwing it into pockets, dribbling between his legs, couple steps here, couple steps there. Like, it's clear to me that, they'll continue to build him up, and he'll be ready to go early in the regular season at some point. But to answer your question, I think John Conchar, Jake LaRavia had the inside track, and it's just going to come down to specifically what this bench unit needs, and that's the difference between the two. If you feel like you got enough scoring in this second unit, and it's just going to be solely a defensive thing, then I think you go with John Conchar because, you're probably going to have Scottie Pippen, Luke Kennard, Brandon Clark, Santi Aldama. If you feel, that group gives me enough scoring, then that's your guy. But if you want a little bit more scoring, and then Jake LaRavia, Marcus Smart feels like he could be a really good defender. Jake LaRavia feels like he's a really good defender. And if that's the case, you go with Jake LaRavia, then you get a little bit more of a scoring punch as well. So that's going to be something that I'm watching closely in preseason. Which one of those two kind of can take the lead in that?
To Michael Cole joining us from Nashville as the Grizzlies will continue practice at training camp later today at the Ensworth School. He's joining us on the Sissy's Log Cabin listener lines. A new coaching staff for Taylor Jenkins with obviously new ideas, new schemes, both offensively and defensively. It's going to take a while. Has Taylor indicated how long he thinks it may take for the team to comprehend everything that's being taught and asked of them? And I would imagine that those 5 preseason games will be all dress rehearsals using the new system to be ready to go for the start of the season in Utah.
You would think so. With the last part, I don't know though. I think Taylor Jenkins is like, he's a very strategic guy. Like, while some of that will be a dress rehearsal, I think he's gonna, he's probably not even gonna play the starting group in that first preseason game. Like, I wouldn't even expect that. Mm-hmm. So he's going to, pick and choose moments where, and at the end of the day, they're just going to try a lot of different combinations. But with the offense, with the new assistant coaches, the offense is the main thing that comes to mind. And the simplest way to put it to me is, remember when Ja was hurt and Tyus Jones a couple years ago took over the offense, even the year before that, the 56-win team and the 51-win team. When Tyus Jones would start at point guard, you would see the ball would touch more guys' hands. The assist numbers as a team would go up. Like, I think they averaged roughly around 30 assists when Tyus was at point guard, and it was like 25, 26 when Ja Morant was at point guard. And we noticed the three-point percentage went up, right? Because everyone was, easily into the flow of the offense a little bit more. Think that, but now with Ja Morant at point guard, I think that's kind of the idea in a way. Now, systematically, things will be different, but, I think from a flow standpoint, that's what they're going for. Ja Morant is going to be off the ball a little bit more, potentially. So you're not going to see heavy Ja pick and roll and defenses keying in, which is, to me, why the offense struggles so much in the playoffs, even when they beat the Timberwolves. The Timberwolves series, the Lakers series, the Golden State Warriors series, all 3 of those defenses kind of like built a wall in the paint. And for Ja to score, he had to jump over that wall. And if he couldn't jump over that wall, he wasn't scoring or he was going to struggle to score and someone else would have to do it. But now you say, okay, look, they're keying in, they're building it, they're focusing on Ja. We got Marcus Smart. We got Desmond Bain. You initiate the offense. Now you got Ja Morant getting backdoor cuts. Now you got Ja Morant getting spot-up shooting opportunities. And neither of those have been really, popular parts, of his skill set. So, like, we haven't seen a lot of that. I've always thought that Ja Morant was a really good cutter because we saw it some at Murray State, but we haven't seen it much here. So, looking forward to seeing how they kind of put that together because you can counter this. You can counter this and say, I don't know about the idea of taking the ball out of Ja Morant's hands a little bit more because clearly last season that team was way better when Ja had the ball in his hands. Mm-hmm. So I think there's a balance there where you don't take the ball out of Ja Morant's hands too much, but you do want to keep defenses honest. And in the Grizzlies case, because this is something I don't think as I wrote in my story, like every offense cannot do this. But in the Grizzlies case, we talk about, they got 3 guards. How is that going to work defensively? On offense, you now having 3 guards allows you to be able to do that. Now that you have a Marcus Smart and a Desmond Bain, you can kind of pick and choose when Ja Morant is heavily involved, in on-ball situations. So that's one quick change I think we could expect from the offense.
What is your feeling on the trade that Minnesota made and how it affects them and their place in the Western Conference?
I mean, everyone's talking about depth and all that. And look, I've always had the same tune on depth. And please, I'm waiting on someone to prove me wrong. But the thing about depth is only important in the regular season. Mm-hmm. Depth ain't important when you get to the playoffs and 7 guys are playing pretty much all of the minutes. It's irrelevant. So they're like, the Minnesota Timberwolves are a deeper team now. Well, that's true, but guess what? It's not going to matter when you get to the playoffs and you got Mike Conley, Anthony Edwards, DiVincenzo, Nickeil Alexander-Walker, Rob Dillingham. That's 5 guards. And probably only 3 or 4 of them are going to play those 48 minutes. And the starters, Conley's probably going to play 30-something. Ant is probably going to play 40. So it's just not going to be like depth is overrated to me unless you care about regular season. Yeah,
unless there's injuries, right?
Exactly. That's why it's a regular season thing to me. So it makes you better in the regular season, but it's not a playoff separator. So with that being said, the Timberwolves did get deeper, which bodes well for their regular season outlook. Like, you got Julius Randle now. You got 3 legit, power forward center guys who can score the ball at a high level with Naz Reid. As well, factored into there. And then, Rudy Gobert anchoring, defensively and whatnot. But here's the thing, and this is the big one. Julius Randle shot around, 31% from three-point range last year. Julius Randle is not afraid to shoot the ball, but it doesn't go in a lot. So with that being said, what you're going to have, I think, is what you had 2 seasons ago when the Timberwolves first acquired Rudy Gobert. When they first got Rudy Gobert, Anthony Edwards was not happy. Like, he was the main player, I don't want to say complaining, but just voicing his concern about, in his words, it wasn't spacing on the floor. And that came after, they used to have Karl Anthony Towns at center and the floor was just wide open and Anthony Edwards could do whatever he wanted. But they adjusted last season. Karl Anthony Towns took more 3-pointers. Naz Reid took a lot of 3-pointers. You kept one of those guys in the game with Rudy Gobert a lot of times. So my thing is, Rudy Gobert and Julius Randle front court is not giving spacing vibes. And Anthony Edwards is going to have to adapt and adjust to that again. And I feel like he's going to be somewhat frustrated because it's going to be similar to like how, in a way, in the playoffs with the Grizzlies, since they didn't have a lot of shooting in those 2 playoff years, teams could just bag off of a Dillon Brooks, right? And just have guys in the paint. They're going to do that with Julius Randle because Julius Randle's going to keep shooting 4 or 5 3-pointers and say, okay, thank you. And they're going to have that second guy in the paint waiting on Anthony Edwards. And, he's going to have some frustration. So, bottom line, in the simplest form, I think they're still solid, but this doesn't move me from the standpoint of, they become a better playoff team. Regular season, they're steady. They'll be in the mix, but I don't think this is the move you make if you're trying to take that next step to a championship team.
He thinks Randall is Costanza. He's a chucker. All right, final thing for you. Got less than a minute here. At their media day in Brooklyn, Zaire Williams, the former Grizzly, said he feels like, or this is what he had said, I feel like a loose bird finally let out of his cage. Some days in Memphis, I just kind of felt like I was trapped. I definitely feel a lot more free here. It's definitely a blessing in disguise. What would be your most educated guess as to why he felt like he was trapped in Memphis?
Because they had so many bodies, probably. But I don't even. If I say, hey, Zaire, do you feel trapped here in Memphis last year? He wouldn't have said yes to that. Yeah. Like, I think that's just your typical media day. Guys want to, they optimism. That's all that is. I think just the fact that Jake LaRavia, David Roddy, all those different wings, Vince Williams was there, probably made him feel that way.
Okay. He is DeMichael Cole, covers the Grizzlies for the Commercial Appeal. You can follow him on Twitter at DeMichael C. He's covering the Grizz right now at their training facility in Nashville at Ensworth. He'll be back with us next Wednesday. Thanks, DeMichael.
All right, take care, guys.
You too. I don't know. I mean, he was hurt, too, so he didn't help himself getting injured. Who knows if he never got injured, if he would have had...
If you go to a new team and you weren't very good in your old team, like especially as a young player, and they're like you're trying to give them a reason for why you're going to be better. Well, I was trapped there. Now I'm free. Like I'm going to be. That's a normal media day answer.
I don't think so. I don't think so. I don't hear people saying they were trapped. But yeah, you certainly want to talk about the optimism for the new place. But you certainly don't want to put down the old place. And when you're saying you were trapped, you're saying something, not directly saying at a person. But I think you're making a statement.
Fleet Feet, the place to go to get all your running gear, especially shoes that are just right for you. If you go to either one of the two locations of Fleet Feet, they will take a look at the way you run or walk and fit you with shoes that are just right for you. You can go to the Laurelwood Shopping Center in East Memphis. You'll find them there next to Panera Bread Company. You'll also find them out in Collierville, Poplar, and Houston Levy, next door to Huey's. Go into either one of the locations. They're going to take good care of you. And they'll take a look at the way you run or the way you walk, where you put the pressure on the different parts of your feet. And then they'll get the shoes that have the proper support in the right spots for you. Plus all your other gear, they've got you taken care of. And they, of course, can give you advice as well if you're just getting started in running or wanting to train for some races, start running races. They can help you with that with some advice as well. They're all runners. They are all about the running community at Fleet Feet.
You're tuned in to Sports 56 Mornings with Greg and Eli on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Join the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin, for Wolo and Friends. Weekday mornings from 10 to 11 here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Jenkins Floors and More invites you to their retail warehouse where they pass wholesale savings on to you. Jenkins Floors in Little Rock, Cleveland, Mississippi, and now open in Horn Lake at 2356 West Goodman Road. Specializing in flooring and carpeting, tile, plantation shutters, and blinds, Jenkins makes your life easy with a 2-week turnaround. Contractors, builders, or family projects, call 662-469-9350 for a free estimate. Owners Timmy and Rebecca Jenkins say hello to Sports 56 fans and look forward to your business.
Jason's Deli. When you're dining there or picking up curbside, you can expect wholesome food and no surprises. Just delicious sandwiches, crisp salads, and clean quality meals made with the freshest ingredients and no artificial trans fats, MSG, high fructose corn syrup, or artificial colors and dyes. Around here, a lot of thought goes into what we put into our food and what we take out of it. Because you're not just taking the bite, you're getting a taste of who we are. New items are constantly being created to expand our menu for all tastes and special diets, vegan and gluten-free options available, convenience, and on-time delivery you can count on. It's just a click away at jasonsdeli.com. So whether you need to feed 5 people or 5,000, the team at Jason's Deli, they have the credentials and the commitment to keep you satisfied. Freshness is nearby at Jason's Deli locations at Ridgeway in the Park Place Center, Poplar Highland, Germantown Road in Cordova, and Goodman Road in Highland Ranch. Jason's Deli is wholesome food and no surprises.
For life's spectacular moments, only a real diamond will do. At Sissy's Log Cabin, you'll discover a brilliant selection of natural diamonds, along with our promise of unmatched quality and service. The only real diamond is a natural natural diamond from Sissy's. Find yours when you stop by any of our 6 locations or shop online at sissyslogcabin.com. Discover the natural diamond of your dreams only at Sissy's Log Cabin, because life's too short for ordinary jewelry.
Case IH is a proud supporter of the Mississippi Farm Bureau, and thanks to a membership benefits partnership, Mississippi Farm Bureau members receive a discount of up to $500 on every qualifying Case IH tractor and piece of equipment you purchase. This discount may be used with other promotions, rebates, or offers. So join Mid-South Ag Equipment and the Mississippi Farm Bureau and pocket up to $500 in savings. Call Mid-South Ag at 662-890-3141 to get your discount today.
Now back to Sports 56 Mornings on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour brought to you by Jenkins Floors and More. Here once again are Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy.
Welcome back, everyone. 9:30 the time. 30 minutes to go here on this Wednesday edition of Sports 56 Mornings. Greg Gaston, Eli Savoy, Elijah Seegers with you from the Family Leisure Studios. So I saw this during the break. It's pretty interesting. Sam Vicente has the Game Theory podcast and has, I don't know if these are regulars or a couple of guys he just had on as guests, Bryce Simon, Andrew Claudio. Not familiar with those two gentlemen. But this is kind of neat. They did a draft of players that are 32 years of age or older and how they would assemble their team for this year in the association. So I'm going to give you their teams, and I want you, Eli, and Elijah to tell me which one you think is the best team of these three. Okay? So it's a lot to remember, but you'll get the idea here quickly. Sam Vicente's team, I guess they did, they didn't just pick haphazardly, I'm sure. Sam got the first pick here, the way it looks like, and then they went probably in a snake order. James Harden, Jimmy Butler, Paul George, LeBron James, Al Horford. That's the starting 5. The rotation, C.J. McCollum, Jonas Valanciunas, Nick Batum, Kelly Olynyk, T.J. McConnell. Okay? Bryce Simon, Kyrie Irving, Klay Thompson, Kawhi Leonard, Kevin Durant. I think he wanted everybody with a K except for Rudy Gobert. That's his 5 starters. The backups, Draymond Green, Bogdan Bogdanovic, Tobias Harris, Harrison Barnes, Jordan Clarkson. And then your third person, Andrew Claudio, his starters, Steph Curry, Damian Lillard, Drew Holiday, DeMar DeRozan, Brooke Lopez, and then off the bench, Chris Middleton, Chris Paul, Torrey Craig, Kevin Love, Mike Conley. Who has the best team?
For the regular season, I would take the first one.
You would take Vicente. That's Harden, Butler, George, James, Horford. Who would you take for the postseason to win it?
Anybody but James Harden.
All right. What do you think, Elijah?
Yeah, I agree with Eli. I think that first team is the most well-rounded. Maybe it does fit the regular season better, but that starting 5 is pretty elite.
It's strong.
The third team, he's got 3 point guards, so it's a little strange.
Yeah, Drew Holiday ran some 3 with the Olympic team.
That's what I was thinking, too. Yeah. Like Holiday, I'm just thinking of a defensive stopper, but you're right. He's got Curry and Lillard, and they're sort of the same player. I mean, Lillard's not as good as Curry, but we know Lillard can light it up any game and knock down 9 threes, but it's similar. Then DeRozan, Lopez, okay, I don't mind Lopez, and then Conley off the bench, another point guard. So, yeah, it's 2 point guard heavy. The middle one, Irving, Thompson, Kawhi, Durant, Gobert. That's a pretty good team.
It is. I think there's some injury concern with that team.
I was just going to say that, but let's assume there's no injuries.
Okay, in a perfect world, then that is a solid team. Spacing would be very good. You have Kevin Durant, Kyrie as your 1 and 2 option, most likely. I like that team.
Klay shooting threes. I know Klay's not the same Klay from 3-4 years ago. Kyrie running the point. Gobert. Draymond off the bench. I don't know. That's a pretty good team. But it also tells you how many big-name players are 32 years of age or older. in the NBA. I mean, there's a lot of big names here. Some still have it. Some have lost a little bit of their edge. And some, as Elijah alluded to, have battled injuries. You know, I don't know what can you really count on Kawhi Leonard if you're the Clippers this year?
No, I mean, you certainly hard to count on him in the postseason if they make the postseason, which they very well won't.
For a different reason than Harden.
Yes.
His availability. Harden's just lack of performance. You know.
And Harden's fine generally through Game 6, just you want to be in Game 7.
For some reason.
You got to finish the series early.
You know, I worry about Durant. You know, he's getting up there in his health. And when he's playing, he's obviously really, really good. Klay Thompson will be interesting. Does he have a renewed lease on life going to a different place? Does he still have something in the tank, some reserve to play with Doncic and Kyrie? That could be an interesting dynamic. Dallas made those moves for the bigs last year at the trade deadline, which really helped them. They obviously made the finals. Is it a good enough team to get back? It certainly is. I don't know if they will. And again, with Butler, Miami, he's starting to get banged up. Paul George now in Philadelphia. Can Philadelphia overtake Boston? Are they good enough? Is the Knicks now with Cat? I like seeing some of these big names go east, get out of the Western Conference, which is nice. They usually come the other way. I see a lot of possibilities in that Western Conference. I mean, the East, you look at Boston, you look at the Knicks, you look at Philadelphia, maybe Cleveland. I mean, there's just not a lot of variety there. You look at the West, it could be 10, 11 teams that are in the mix for a top 4 spot. How about LeBron? What a year he had last year. He was incredible. He will be 40 soon, right? Still 39?
His birthday's at the end of December.
End of December, I think he turns 40, right? Him and Bronny. Bronny's going to be, perennial all-star, right?
I guess if LeBron's on the team, Bronny has to be as well, so they're going to take him as an all-star. I don't know.
It's a package duo for the All-Star game. But anyway, that's kind of fun looking at that at 32 and over players to look out for in the NBA this season.
I was sad to see that our bad run of, I guess, celebrity deaths continued yesterday.
I was going to bring it up.
With Mr. James Evans, as I every time I ever saw the man.
James.
Every time I ever saw John Amos in anything, I always thought James Evans. Like I never thought of his real name. The funny thing to me is I never realized that how he was only on Good Times for 3 years,
right?
Because I always just watched replays of Good Times, so I always thought he was on Good Times forever. I thought he did. I don't know how many years of Good Times. And then when I was reading the thing, I was like, he was only on there for 3 years, but I was always watching reruns of Good Times. And so I wasn't watching it as it went. So I just constantly saw him on the show.
How many years did it run?
I don't know. I don't know how long Good Times actually ran.
Was he there when the Janet Jackson character came in? Because Janet Jackson was not there at the beginning. But John Amos roots all kinds of unbelievable movies. Back to America. Was it Back to America, right?
Coming to America.
Coming to America, yes.
Come on, he was Mr. McDowell.
Mr. McDowell. But before he had played Mr. McDowell in the Coming to America, it had been a while since I had seen him. I thought John Amos had died. I really did. I thought he was dead. And this was post-Roots, pre-Coming to America. But I thought I remember reading a story about maybe there was one, it was false or something. But John Amos, now officially dead, but 84 years old, lived a really good life. Now that's a father right there that was tough. I don't know if I wanted to face John Amos if I'm JJ. Man, he gave that look to JJ and Thelma, but mainly JJ and little Michael. But that look he gave him, you don't want to mess with James Evans. You don't want to mess with John Amos. A tough-looking guy. So, yeah.
Good Times ran from 74 to 79.
So 5 years he was there for 3? Maybe Janet Jackson came in. I don't remember her at the beginning. I love the. Was it Thelma? Who was the? Was it a next door neighbor? Or was it just a friend? It was a friend of Florida.
There was the Thelma, yeah.
Yeah, she would always come in. I liked her. I liked that show. It was a really, really good show. But yeah, John Amos, tough dad, passes away at the age of 84. So yeah, it's been a bad run, hasn't it?
Janet Jackson was there just the last 2 seasons.
There you go.
The 5th and 6th seasons.
That's probably why Amos left. He said, "I don't want to deal with Janet Jackson." No, I'm kidding.
He got booted because he said he
want more money.
He said he always complained about because of the. He said he's like, I knew what a black family was like, but we had all white writers and they didn't want to listen to anything I said, and they finally just got tired of him complaining about stuff and they killed him off.
Jeez. That's pretty harsh right there. But yeah, I mean, yesterday, a lot of conversation about Pete Rose, who we talked about on the show, and Dikembe Mutombo and Chris Christopherson. But Pete Rose, I listened to an interview that Dan Patrick did with Johnny Bench. And Johnny's longtime teammate, Pete Rose, and friends. Although Johnny Bench was very adamant about what Pete did with the gambling and really didn't support him. Now, he said, look, when we saw each other, we always hugged each other and we had mutual respect for each other. I didn't like what he did. We tried to intervene a bunch of times, myself and Joe Morgan and Tony Perez and all that stuff. But he was very sad. He was deeply moved by everything yesterday in this interview. And I think he did finally say that he now belongs in the Hall of Fame. And so maybe a change of mind. But I remember Bench being very adamant about it, about Pete and the gambling and not being in the Hall of Fame. He also said he was in Nashville as well over the weekend, and they were supposed to get together, but Johnny was the featured Cincinnati Red one day and Pete was the other day, so they never crossed paths, and they were supposed to get together. And he said from everything he had heard from the other players that were there, the George Fosters, the Dave Concepcion's, that he was really looking bad. He came in a wheelchair.
Well, yeah, the picture they had was him in a wheelchair. And they did say that it was natural causes that he died from. He had a couple of different things that they mentioned, but diabetes, hypertension, some other stuff. So, it was the natural causes that were the cause of death for Pete Rose.
It's football season. Nothing goes better with Game Time Eats than chicken wings. It's a tradition like no other. But not just any wings. The seasoning makes the chicken wing, and nobody does it better than the Crazy Coop at 7199 Stage Road. It's west of Appling and soon coming to downtown Memphis. They have over 32 secret sauces and blends that they put on these chicken wings and counting. They're always adding to their collection of sauces, like the jalapeno cheddar, the barbecue bacon bourbon, and they got the hot stuff as well, stuff that I will not go anywhere near. You can, if you like, the Crazy Suicide. They also have great sides like the Parmesan fries, the fried dill pickles, the carrot and celery sticks. And for the full menu, you can go online to crazycoopstage.com. They got burgers and catfish fillets, chicken nuggets, crazy kid meals. You can buy in bulk as well. This is fantastic for tailgating or just for lunch or dinner. Stop by. Again, located in where Bartlett meets Memphis, right down the road from the Wolf Chase Galleria at 7199 Stage Road, again, west of Appling. That's the original Crazy Coop, and soon coming to downtown Memphis. Go to crazycoopstage.com. That's crazycoopstage.com. You'd be crazy not to visit the Coop.
Yeah, to text it to Craig, it was, Thelma was the daughter, Willona was the friend.
Yeah, and I had said Thelma. Thelma, JJ, and Michael. And who was the friend again?
Wolona.
God, she was the best.
Neighbor / friend, whatever.
She was the best. All right, we'll take a break. Come back with our final segment. This is Sports 56 Mornings with Greg and Eli on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Broadcasting from the Family Leisure Studio, we are Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Top Gun is the largest indoor range in the Mid-South, but size isn't their only difference. Top Gun has the best instructors with over 300 years combined experience and classes all the way from first shot to master marksmanship. Plus, Top Gun is affordable. Gold membership is just $48 a month. That's just $1.60 a day for unlimited range time. Free gun rentals with purchase of ammo and members lounge access. Top Gun 2770 Whitten Road and TopGunMemphis.com. Always shoot with the best. Top Gun Memphis.
Hi, this is Troy Fiveash, owner of Fiveash Roofing. In these uncertain economic times, there are so many things as a contractor and a business owner that I cannot control. The rising cost of materials, not to mention fuel and transportation costs. In the last 2 years, shingle prices have almost doubled, and commercial materials have doubled. And I don't have to tell you what fuel costs these days. But you know what I can control? How much markup I put on a project. I have always prided myself in knowing I never gouge a customer. But in an effort to ensure my crews have work and my customers are being treated fairly, I have lowered my profit margin, hoping to give you a price you can live with and keeping my crews busy. So if you need a roof or gutters, please give us a call. Five Ash Roofing, fair, honest, and ethical. Five Ash Roofing, a proud sponsor of Tiger Athletics and a member of the Tigers home team. 367-0050 or MemphisRoofer.com. 367-0050 or MemphisRoofer.com.
Lots of our fans have gone to see Genesis Diamonds, and they are amazed. Hey, it's Eric Hasseltine, and Genesis is fast becoming the go-to place for people here when it comes to engagement rings and fine designer jewelry. They also have a ton of luxury pre-owned Rolexes. Genesis guarantees the best diamond prices, period. They are a direct diamond importer with no middleman, which means incredible value for you. Genesis turned the old-school jewelry business model upside down with slimmer margins, more selection, no commission salespeople, and stronger warranties. They have every diamond you can imagine, natural and lab-grown diamonds in every shape and every size. Genesis has thousands of designer engagement rings from top designers that you won't find at other stores. And keep this in mind with the holidays around the corner. Genesis has case after case of incredible diamond fashion rings, diamond eternity bands, diamond earrings, diamond necklaces, colored gemstones at every possible price point. All of this in a beautiful new showroom with great local experts who will teach you how to buy like a dealer buys. Genesis Diamonds, you will love it at Poplar and Perkins Extended.
Don't do it.
Don't do what?
Don't do another Halloween spot for Central Barbecue.
But it's October. Doing a Halloween spot for Central Barbecue is a tradition.
But it doesn't make it a good thing.
Nothing else happens in October.
Baseball?
Not if you're a Cardinals fan. What else you got?
National Candy Corn Day.
No Central Barbecue connection.
Fair point. How about Make a Difference Day?
That's to encourage people to do something constructive for the world.
And going to Central Barbecue isn't?
I'm telling you, it's got to be Halloween.
There's no other choice, I guess.
Hey, Zeke.
Yeah?
This year, give the kiddies ribs on Halloween. They love that.
Seriously, next year, something new.
Now back to Sports 56 Mornings on Sports 56 and 95 FM. This hour brought to you by Jenkins Floors and More. And once again, our Greg Gaskin and Eli Support.
All right, for what it's worth, I'm now told that there is no truth to the rumor out there that there's a re-engagement of conversations between the University of Memphis and the PAC. Again, just from one of my sources saying that they don't believe that is accurate. Also, you want to read a good story? Chris Vanini, our buddy, friend of the show, has written about Army and Navy for the New York Times. And he tweets out, Army and Navy, The Athletic, but it's in the New York Times. That's where I saw it. Army and Navy are both 4-0 for the first time since 1945, putting up a ton of points. They could, and then we've talked about this, could meet 2 weeks in a row in the AAC championship and their normal game. Not that either wants that for the other. Quote, here's hoping they lose every game. I'm not sure where the quote came from, but it's either Army or Navy and probably both. So, yeah, that's something that nobody wants to see.
I give him credit. It's amazing in this era when you can't get people out of the portal, you're not paying NIL money. I mean, I'm amazed that they're able to do what they're doing.
I know.
They should. I thought they would all, like the service academies would be screwed in this new era, and yet here they are. They're finding a way to compete. It's amazing, quite frankly.
I know. Hey, Clemson doesn't do the transfer portal. They may have lost to Georgia, but they're kicking tail right now. I'm just kidding with them. But yeah, Army, Navy, pretty amazing with what's happening. And again, right now, they are at the top of the Delta Pledge class. They're the top of the American Conference. And I don't know who knocks them off. I really don't. Especially that newfangled Navy offense, which is not just the old triple option. There's a lot of elements of the wing T, of what Air Force runs. And they got a quarterback right now. And if you have a quarterback that can execute it as well as Horvath and run as fast as Horvath, you have a chance to win a lot of games.
Some NFL news. Von Miller suspended 4 games for violating the personal conduct policy. Although it's
pretty ugly what they, I guess, accuse him of, right?
Well, I think there was no charges were ever filed. But again, it doesn't have to be. The NFL does their investigation, and they can suspend you whether charges were ever filed or not. And so they have suspended him 4 games. It's from the incident that happened November of last year when he was accused of assaulting his pregnant girlfriend. At the time, again, no charges ever filed, but he will serve a 4-game suspension now from the NFL. And then you got Davante Adams. The Davante Adams saga apparently wants out of Vegas. They are in no rush to trade him, according to reports. However, I would assume that he will end up getting traded. Obviously, the Jets come up immediately because of his relationship with Aaron Rodgers. The Saints come up because of his relationship with Derek Carr. The Cowboys come up because anytime any big-name player comes up is asked to be traded, the Cowboys have to come up because people have to talk about the Cowboys. The Chiefs come up because you've got the injury to Rashee Rice now, and they need a receiver, although I would be really surprised to see the Raiders trade Davante Adams to the Chiefs.
Not going to happen.
That one seems like that'd be a really hard deal for the Chiefs to get done. I don't see the Chiefs and Raiders making many trades. That's especially a guy like that. That one would be difficult to sell.
I don't see the Cowboys because CeeDee Lamb is your number 1. He'd be wide receiver number 2. I certainly see a rekindling of the old friendship with Aaron Rodgers. I certainly see that relationship getting back together because New York could really use. Now, they got Garrett Wilson. I understand that. But Davante Adams with Wilson, who else they have? Lazard. That makes a lot of sense to me. If they can make it happen.
Yeah, I mean, I get he and Aaron Rodgers are just like Aaron loves him. He loves Aaron.
Maybe they could do something with Riddick.
It's a place where they would be, he's going to be happy. The one thing with you need happy Davante Adams.
You need happy Davante Adams.
And he would be happy there. He would be happy in New Orleans, I think, with Derek Carr. I mean, the reason I think he went to Vegas to begin with was the Derek Carr relationship. I think he would end up being happy there if they could pull something off.
Well, he wants to go to the postseason, too, so you got to look at the options of those teams, where they stand. Jets had a bad loss against Denver. Nothing's concrete. New Orleans battling in that South Division. What about something with Riddick, though? Right? The holdout. Maybe they could do something there.
Oh, Hassan Reddick? Oh,
Reddick, yeah. He seems like he's an Antonio Pierce kind of player.
Yeah, I don't know if they're going to want to pay him that. I have no idea where he stands and all of that. But yeah, I mean, Davante Adams could still play. The dude is still really, really good. And so wherever he ends up, he will make a big difference. That's for sure. I mean, that dude is still one of he may not be quite what he was, but that might also be the fact that he's the quarterbacks he's playing with.
Well, is that the main reason why he wanted out? Just because he's not getting the ball enough with Minshew?
Yeah,
Connell's the other guy.
I mean, he's never really from the last year. You saw on the receiver show they did, he was never real happy. Once Carr was gone,
right?
Then the Jimmy G thing was a disaster, and he basically got Jimmy G out of there, out of that starting spot. So I don't know. Again, if you're acquiring Davante, you don't want to get disgruntled Davante. You need happy Davante. There are 2 quarterbacks who will certainly make Davante happy, and that's Aaron Rodgers and Derek Carr.
So this week, Week 5 NFL, here are some of the lines. Buccaneers and Falcons will play Thursday night. We'll have that game for you. Atlanta's a 1.5-point favorite at home. Then on Sunday, the early game, and I mean early, 8:30 a.m. from London. The 4-0 Vikings, speaking of Aaron Rodgers, the 2-2 Jets go at it from London. Will Rodgers be popular in London? You betcha. Colts and Jaguars, they play in Jacksonville. Jacksonville, 0-4, the only winless team. They are a 3-point favorite over the Colts. Ravens at the Bengals. Bengals are a 2.5-point dog at home to Baltimore, coming off that big win over Buffalo. Dolphins and the Patriots in New England. New England, a 1-point favorite. Browns and Commanders in Washington. Washington, a 3-point favorite. The Texans and the Bills. That should be a pretty good game down in Houston. Buffalo, a 1-point road favorite. Panthers and the Bears in Chicago. Chicago's a 3.5-point favorite. Raiders and the Broncos, old rivals, will go at it in Denver. Denver, a 3-point favorite. Cardinals at the 49ers. 49ers, 7.5-point favorite. Packers and the Rams in L.A. Green Bay, 3.5-point road favorite. Interesting. Giants and Seahawks. Seahawks, a 6-point favorite at home. Your Cowboys and the Steelers in Pittsburgh. That's the Sunday night game. Pittsburgh, a 2.5-point favorite, looking to bounce back from the loss to Indy. And then your Monday night game, the Saints and the Chiefs. The Chiefs, one of 2 undefeated teams remaining in the NFL. Chiefs, a 4.5-point favorite.
Genesis Diamonds, for all your jewelry needs, go see them. Poplar and Perkins Extended. Whatever it is that you're looking for, whatever special occasion you may have coming up, you're looking for a gift idea, or maybe you're looking for something for yourself. Go see the folks at Genesis Diamonds. They've got a great staff to help you pick it out. They've got an unbelievable selection, all kinds of different lines of jewelry, line after line of jewelry that nobody else in town has. And you're going to get a great value, great price on that jewelry as well when you go see the folks at Genesis Diamonds. Again, Poplar and Perkins Extended is where you'll find them. Engagement rings, necklaces, earrings, pendants, pre-owned Rolex watches, whatever it is you're looking for, go see the folks at Genesis Diamonds.
And again, day 2 of the wild card round playoffs in Major League Baseball. Tigers and Astros will be the early game, 1:30. That's on ABC. Astros trailing the series 1-0. Royals and the Orioles, 3:30 on ESPN. KC leads 1-0, looking to sweep the Orioles. Mets and Brewers at 6:30 on ESPN from Milwaukee. Milwaukee down 1-0 to the Mets. And then the Braves and Padres, again, your late game, 7:30 on the Deuce from San Diego. The Padres trying to blank the Braves after winning game number 1. That's going to do it for us for this Wednesday edition of Sports 56 Morning. Shout out to Antonio Anderson, Jerry Palm, and DeMichael Cole for joining us on the show. Tomorrow on the program, remember, no Tiger football report with the Tigers having a bye week. That means no Coach Ryan Silverfield. We will talk Major League Baseball playoffs with Kerry Miller. From 9 to 10 tomorrow, it's the AutoZone Liberty Bowl Inside College Football Hour with Harold Grader. We'll have our world-famous Pick 6. That's coming up tomorrow, starting bright and early at 7 a.m. Wolo and Friends on Sports 56 is next. Once again, Brian Dacus pinch hitting for Dave Woloshin. For Eli Savoy and Elijah Seegers, I'm Greg Gaston. Have a great day, everybody.
Locally owned and operated for over 40 years, Automatic Gates Construction tailors custom gate solutions for all your residential